I get that because
no, it's not upsetting me.
There's a reason I'm successful. There's a reason why I'm liked.
This is exactly why Democrats.
And good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sarah, the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you another fun impromptu with Brian Shapiro. He cannot get enough of our gauntlet. He loves it. He just can't. He can't get enough of it. So he said, let's do another one. Fuck it. Let's have some fun. And I said, okay, you got it. So ladies and gentlemen, I have officially dropped the open panel link back into the live chat. I'm calling out Cool V1C because he likes to stream snipe us, but he doesn't seem to have the balls to actually jump on the panel and talk to Brian himself. So I'm going to call you out, mofo. If you're stream sniping again tonight, get your ass over here. We'll gladly allow you some time with Brian mano y mano since you love him so much. All right, Brian, tonight you've got two topics on the list, and welcome back, by the way.
Thanks.
Two topics on the list, and you've also got some, big alert. And you've also got some promos you've got going on. So feel free, floor is yours. Tell them all, and I'll bring the panel up here shortly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think there's two topics we're going to discuss today. Obviously, we were told that there was going to be a deal with Iran again. And then it turns out that there's no deal. And now Iran is not negotiating at all. They've stopped all negotiations with the United States. So I guess we weren't close to a deal. And I guess the art of the deal is the art of no deal once again. And they have no idea how to end this war. That would be topic number one. And topic number two is I find it hilarious and embarrassing. All the attacks on Talarico from Stephen Miller calling him a trans person, others calling him a closet homosexual, a vegan. But yet they have nothing else. They have nothing to attack him on other than just personal insults, I guess, because the guy that they're supporting in Texas is a lifelong criminal and cheater, and Ken Paxton, whose own party outed him. So I just think it's pretty pathetic. So I'm sure we can talk a little bit about that. Apparently, higher ups and one of the highest members in the White House thinks using trans in derogatory fashion and attacking Talarico and calling him trans, I guess that's a good look. I guess a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump think that that's funny. I don't think that's funny. I think it's pathetic. But I guess we're talking about that too. And yeah, excited to announce that Hunter Biden will be coming on my show. We're still trying to get a date, but they confirmed today that Hunter is going to come on with me, which is great. Honor to do that because I think the only other person that's interviewed Hunter in the last year and a half is Candace Owens.
Oh, really?
So Candace interviewed him, and it aired about a month or two ago. So I had exchanged some emails, and I guess this will be his second interview. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, that sounds exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I also do want to say our darling Andrew here, regular at Mater Nation, also known as Dragon Fist TV, is going to be coming on to join you Thursday, correct? On your radio show. He's going to come have a little discussion, mano y mano.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
It can't be more frustrating.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it can't be more frustrating than the debate I did today. There's a couple of people in the chat that are talking about a black MAGA supporter today I had on named Andre Williams, who has no problem using homophobic slurs and using the N-word. And he said January 6th was based. Probably one of the craziest interviews I've done in a while. I did an hour with him today. That was batshit crazy, off the walls. I don't know. I find some really crazy people to debate and to come on my show. I suppose it's entertaining radio, but this person that came on today was very special. That's for sure. It was a crazy show today.
So let me ask you this, because I've heard you talk about people throwing around slurs or kind of like ad hom or things of that nature. Like, I mean, we ourselves do that here at the show when we have our debaters and they call people bitches or whatever. Now, there are some TOS words that we cannot use, for obvious reasons, but I have reason to believe that if we didn't have that boundary for YouTube guidelines and things of that nature, that people probably would use such language. But does it really matter? Like, what is so death defying by it? Why is it such a problem if if there's mudslinging across the aisle at each other, or
There's
so on and
nothing
so
wrong
forth.
with there's nothing wrong with mudslinging. I do it all the time, but it's another level when I think you use slurs, racial slurs, or homophobic slurs. I think there's a line that you shouldn't cross. That's my opinion. If you
Mhm.
call somebody a moron or a douchebag or a bitch, or I think there are different levels of insults, right? Or as I use the term, Trump mushroom gobbler, right? But when you talk down to people because of their religion or because the color of their skin or their sexuality, I think that's a line that I don't like to cross. I wouldn't want to cross, and I think it's inappropriate at any level. I think it's wrong. I think there are different levels of insults, and I think when you're using that kind of language, I think it speaks volumes to who you are. When you just use those type of slurs, I don't know. I wasn't raised like that. I wasn't raised like that to attack people because of their sexuality or the color of their skin. So I think
Hmm.
I just think that's a line that you shouldn't cross. I mean, it depends what words we're talking about here, right?
Mhm.
But that's my personal opinion. Certainly don't attack someone for their religion. I don't attack somebody for their race. I attack people for the things they say and their behaviors.
Wouldn't somebody's sexuality be that's their behavior?
Uh,
Wouldn't somebody's
it's
religion, wouldn't that be part of a behavior?
Religion would be your belief, which is, none of my business. Whatever you believe, you can believe in. Just don't force it on other people. I
Mhm.
feel the same way about sexuality. Why do I care? As long as somebody's not breaking the law, why do I care what people do behind closed doors? I mean, I don't. I really don't. It doesn't affect me in a negative way at all. I guess when I mean behaviors, lying, cheating, stealing, breaking the law, those types of behaviors, or policy that is hurting the country. To me, I think that's more prevalent and that's more important than whether somebody's gay or straight.
Well, but I mean, for being gay or straight, I mean, even the gay community, I mean, that's the only reason why we knew people were gay was because they told people that what they like, right? And
Hmm.
like they're publicizing that information. If you
Hmm.
believe that what you do behind closed doors is none of my business and I'm not going to make a big stink out of it, then wouldn't you kind of want that same in return? Like, why are you telling me what you like to do behind closed doors and then expecting me not to say something about it?
I mean, I don't. I
Mhm.
don't really talk about my sex life with
Not you,
publicly.
not you. I
I
mean,
mean,
in terms of
um,
like, particularly the LGBTQ Q community. I mean, that's a big portion of what
it's
they
same,
stand on
same.
is what they do behind closed doors.
I mean, I would say the same thing applies to a straight person, straight or gay. I don't really care what you're doing sexually in your bedroom. That's not my business. Unless I'm dating you, that's not my business. So I feel the same way, gay or straight. I
Mhm.
don't need to hear what you're doing, with your girlfriend or boyfriend. That's your personal business. So I don't think it matters whether you're gay or straight. I think the same applies.
But let me ask you this: can you tell whether a person is gay just by just meeting them without them saying anything and them just walking towards you?
Um,
Can you?
just Benny Johnson. That's it.
Who's
That
Penny
was a
Johnson?
joke.
Why do I know
That was a joke.
this?
That
Why
was a
do I know
joke.
him? I got to look up Benny Johnson.
Yeah, just Michael Knowles. You know, I mean, sometimes I guess, but I don't really.
But not
I,
particularly, right? So, like,
I
I wouldn't
mean,
know you're gay until you tell me, "Hey, I'm gay," right? And by telling me you're gay, that is you
mhm.
telling me I like to participate in sexual activities with the same sex, right?
I guess so. I mean, not really conversations that I have with people because I
Well,
don't
how do
really
you know
care.
somebody's gay?
Well, either they admit it or they say it, or I
Right.
don't
So
know.
if you're going to advertise to me what you like to do behind closed doors, how can you expect me not to want to comment on that, right? And not to be able to utilize that moment to talk about it. If you're going to open that door
Well,
and
people
invite the
can
public
people
into your bedroom, then
people
and this is just what I'm saying towards like the homophobic slurs or
if
so on and
somebody
so forth.
says right, but if somebody says they're gay, I don't think that's inviting somebody into your bedroom. They're just telling people, yeah, I'm gay or I'm straight. Like if somebody says I'm straight, if a man comes up to you and says, hey, by the way, I'm straight, that doesn't mean he's inviting you into his bedroom. He's just telling you what his sexual preference is, which, you know, doesn't really, I don't really care.
Isn't that inviting someone into your bedroom?
I don't think so. If somebody I don't think so. I mean, it's just not really, it's not really something that I really care about. And it doesn't really bother me either way. I just want people to be who they are and do what you want. I don't understand. I know it's Gay Pride Month this month.
Oh, it is. That's right.
And MAGA Republicans are having a field day with that. And I just think it's disgraceful. Yeah. I think if you're hating on people because of their sexuality, I think you're a bigot. And I don't want people like that in my life. You don't have to be gay. You don't have to live the lifestyle that they're living, but leave them alone. Like, just leave people alone. Let people live their lives. That's kind of my take on that whole thing. That's how I've always felt about that. I don't really care what your sexuality is unless I'm dating you. I want people to live their lives and be happy and be with who you want to be with. And if people think it's a sin, then guess what? Don't be gay. But stop telling other people what to do. That's kind of my take on that whole thing.
Do you believe that shame is a good thing?
What kind of shame? What do you mean?
Well, I'll put it this way, and then we'll bring up the panel here in just a couple minutes. But for instance, do you remember being in grade school and there was only like 2 fat kids? There was always one boy and one girl that were like the only 2 fat kids in the class.
You mean, do I think mocking children for being overweight is good? No, of course not.
No,
of course no.
I'm saying, like, as we were growing up, right? You didn't want to be the fat kid because the fat kid got shamed. The boy was always funny, and then the girl was always very like low self-esteem because she's the girl, right? The boy can make fun of himself and it's goofy, but you never wanted to be the fat kid because everybody makes fun of the fat kid, right? But shaming works the same way with adults too. Like, you don't want to be the hoe, or you don't want to be the town idiot, or you don't want to be the this, because you will get publicly shamed, right? So shaming can bring good things in society, like shaming bad behavior or shaming behavior that is like immoral, right? Why is going to prison a bad thing, right? Because it's shamed. We find it to be immoral and it's not acceptable in society. So when people get out of prison, they face kind of like the community shame of, yeah, I went to prison, right? So in that aspect, like, there can be, even if it's name calling to a degree, I'm not saying name calling is always the best thing, but it's still, like, shame can be good in order to bring society back to its moral foundations.
Yeah, I just don't think a moral foundation has anything to do with what your sexuality is. That's where we probably disagree. I don't care what your sexuality is. I don't think you're a sinner if you're gay or you're straight. I don't see any difference to that. I don't think we should be shaming anybody for their sexuality, just like I don't think we should be shaming anybody for their skin color or religion. For people that have such a problem with Gay Pride Month, I ask them, how does it affect you in a negative way? You know, and usually they can't give me an answer. I mean, I don't know. I think we have far more important things in society and issues to talk about than whether somebody's gay or whether somebody's straight. I think they deserve the same rights as somebody who's straight. I have no problem with Gay Pride Month. And that's, you know, I just think there are far more important things in society right now and far more important issues to talk about than, you know, worried about what someone's sexuality is.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I've dug out enough for the panel to work with. Are you ready to meet your panel, sir?
Sure.
Here we go. right, ladies and gentlemen, we actually moved straight into open panel Q&A. Since Brian's been here before and he does have a limited time, I wanted to make sure that we had time to get every panelist up here and move through everyone's questions. Backstage, I do have K.O. Dave and Duck waiting patiently, but we are going to allow those first early birds that got the worm to get their questions in first, and then we will move into boot mode. So KO Day and Duck backstage, hang tight. All right, Andrew, you look fancy. I like your hair pulled back like that.
Thank you.
Good. All right, Andrew, first question, first comment, whatever you got, go for it. You and Brian.
Sure. Hey, how's it going, Brian?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, brother? So I want to start with the comment because I have 2 points on it. First, I would say that, I'm not saying you, but the left primarily put this very small group, very small percentage of the population at the forefront of their politics. So you've opened them up to this scrutiny by using them as a political pawn almost. And I kind of feel bad for them. And I'm definitely not the homophobic one. I didn't even know it was Pride Month. I didn't even know, so I'm definitely not hating on it. I'm just saying that when you make them a political pawn, you can't then say that people can't comment on it. And what Trump is doing—
I don't know what you mean.
So
I
you
don't know what
actually
you mean by
policies
political
based on
pawn.
it. We know when you're signaling
And I
to the
also wouldn't
left.
say, what do you mean by small percentage? Do you know what
They're like
percentage
1 or
of—
2% of the population, trans people. Yeah, let me
let Andrew finish his thought, and then we'll go back to response.
So what I'm saying is you gave a lot of power to this 1 or 2% of the population. They have a very loud voice.
No, it's not. It's not 1 or 2%. What are you
Trans community
talking
I'm
about?
talking about. Talking about the
Oh,
trans
okay. Well,
community.
I had no idea what you were talking about. I thought and by the way, it's about 3%, but I thought we were talking about homosexuality. Were we talking about trans? I didn't know that.
Well, that's what the comment was about, right? The trans comment.
No, it's about the attacks on James Talarico, who's not trans. The prompt was about the right attacking Talarico, the Stephen Millers of the world, calling him trans, which is juvenile, despicable, and disgusting, and pathetic. And what a horrible message. That was the prompt, because it was. Does that make sense? It was involving.
Yeah, sure.
Talarico.
I'm just explaining to you why Trump was saying, oh, that they have 6 genders and this is the trans. He's pointing out their politics by saying that. And you may not like the way that it sounds, but I would also ask, like, why is it a bad thing? Like, if you hurled an insult at me that I didn't think was a bad thing, like you don't think being gay is bad, right? You don't think being trans is bad. So like, I would just laugh if someone did that to me. If you hurled an insult at me that I didn't think was insulting, I wouldn't fake being offended.
Well, there you go.
If you don't think it's a bad thing, why are you offended?
Well,
is my question.
You just answered your own question. Everybody reacts to insults differently. For example, because of my religion, one of Myron Gaines' friends backstage at a debate called me a very horrible word, probably the worst word you can call somebody Jewish. Now, that probably wouldn't have insulted you, Andrew, because I would assume you're not Jewish, but it did insult me. Everybody is different. There are some people where if you use the N-word, it's not offensive to them. But I can tell you right now, there are a lot of African Americans out there, and rightfully so, that if a white person insulted them and then called them the N-word, they would be very upset, and they would have a right to be very upset. The point I'm trying to make is everybody reacts to different words and different insults differently. And I think we should be respectful of that. When it comes to Talarico, the reason why I brought that up in the prompt is because people aren't attacking Talarico for any sort of substance. They're attacking him and calling him trans, which is beyond stupid.
How is that an attack? That's my question. Like, if you don't think that's a bad thing, how is that an attack? In your position, you're the one.
So you think Stephen Miller was calling him trans, and you think it was a positive thing? Is that your take? Because that's the weirdest take I've ever heard in my life.
If you hurl an insult at me, and the thing you're insulting me about isn't something I think is bad, then I'm not offended. So I'm asking, why are you offended? If you don't think being trans is bad,
I'm not offended.
Why are you offended?
First of all, I'm not even offended by it. I'm repulsed by Stephen Miller, and he thinks that it's funny. And you think, and you seem to be defending the fact that one of the biggest faces in the Republican Party, and you don't see anything wrong with one of the biggest names and one of the most powerful people on the right attacking a candidate who's never been in trouble with the law before. Okay. He's lived a pretty good life. He seems like a pretty nice guy, even if you disagree with his politics. And you're okay with one of the biggest names in the White House right now using a juvenile insult and calling him a trans candidate.
But how is that an insult? That's my point. Like, you guys politicized them. Your side did that. You guys politicized this movement. So how is that an insult? We're just describing what's going on.
Okay, so let's talk to me right now because I don't represent a party. How have I politicized this? Explain that to me.
Because your side makes policies and
not on a side.
And
I don't
okay,
make
the
policy.
left, because you're talking about Trump.
Right,
so I'm talking about the left,
well,
the other side.
Hold on. If I can maybe find some grounding here, if because it was a Democrat, right? Talarico is a Democrat, right?
Sure.
And that's who the insult went to, and then that's the party that is upset by this insult, correct?
Right.
So I think that's in terms for Andrew, that's what he's referring to, is those who are upset about it are the ones who complain. Right.
I wouldn't say the party is up in arms upset over it. I would say it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed that anybody would defend this. I'm embarrassed that one of the biggest names in the White House right now in the Trump administration would use those sort of terms that a 10-year-old would use, and that you're totally okay with it. You think it's just fine.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not offended.
You guys politicize them, so then people can comment on it. You make policies and you garner. I'm talking about the left. We were talking about
policy.
That.
What policy are you?
There's all sorts of policies that affect people.
Tell me.
Women in trans women in men's sports. There's all sorts of policies that affect people that people care about. Bathroom situations. So I'm saying is, let me finish. When you make policies about it, people are allowed to comment. Like, just saying the word trans from the other side is not an insult.
First of all, he didn't just say the word trans. He was using it as an insult, saying that Talarico is the first trans candidate. Stephen Miller knows very well. I can't believe Andrew.
He should be happy about that. He thinks trans people are great.
Let Brian explain.
I can't, Andrew, I can't believe I even have to explain this to you, but I'm going to try. Okay. Stephen Miller is a horrible human being, but he's not stupid. He knows that James Talarico is not trans. Okay. He knows that. The reason why he called him trans was to mock him. The only point that I'm trying to make is that it should be beneath anybody in office, let alone one of the most powerful people on the right. It is a juvenile insult. It would be the same as saying Talarico is the first gay candidate, knowing that he's not gay and mocking him and using that term. It's beneath the office that Stephen Miller is in. It's a juvenile insult. It's stupid. I'm not offended by it. I'm embarrassed that we have leaders or so-called leaders like that in this country, in the White House, that use those sorts of terms. It's stupid. And then when somebody calls him an ugly fucker, which I think somebody who runs the Democrat Twitter account, everybody on the right was so, oh God, oh, it's so beneath the Democrats. How could they call Stephen Miller an ugly fucker? The things he says are very ugly. I will say that. And Stephen Miller's wife said that's horrible rhetoric. Well, maybe if your stupid husband didn't call people domestic terrorists after they're shot and killed in the streets of Minneapolis, and maybe if your husband didn't use some of the same rhetoric that Adolf Hitler used back in the day, and maybe if your husband wasn't mocking people and saying, oh, you're a trans candidate, then maybe she wouldn't have had a response of you're an ugly fucker. Again, the point I'm trying to make is it's beneath people that are elected officials. I think it's beneath anybody, especially someone who's an elected official, to make a statement like that. And you know what it tells me, Andrew? It tells me that they don't have any substance to go after Talarico. They don't have anything real to go after Talarico. So what are they doing? They're calling him a vegan. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a vegan. So even if he was a vegan, should we not support this guy because he's a vegan? Or should we support the guy who's been a 20-year criminal and a lifelong cheater, whose own party outed him? Ken Paxton is a piece of shit. He's a criminal.
Last question.
He's a thief.
Last question on this. So you said this doesn't have any substance. Do you remember what the most effective political ad against Kamala Harris was?
I mean, what do you mean by effective? I don't know.
The one that they garnered as the most effective when used. It was the one where he said, Kamala is for they, them, I'm for you. It was that one. So what I'm saying is we're pointing to this is a substance. This is a substance issue for a certain group. And we didn't make it that way. You made it
Let me
that
just
way.
be
Your
honest.
side.
Okay, so I didn't make it anyway. I don't know what you're talking
Your
about. And by the way,
side made
the people.
Talarico made it that way, not us. We're just commenting on
First
it.
of all,
Let Brian
first of all, let
respond.
me just. People who voted for a candidate because of that ad are morons. That's number one. So that's number one. If you voted for somebody because, well, according to who? According to a bunch of bigots, who is it effective? So that means nothing to me, number one. And number two, I cannot believe that we're sitting here right now, even though we might have a different ideology, and you think it's okay, because it sounds like you're defending it, one of the biggest names on the right in the White House saying, oh, look, first trans candidate. It's so juvenile. It's so stupid. And that's why you guys are going to get destroyed in the midterms, because these are the assholes that you're defending.
But only you think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's insulting. Only you think being called gay and trans is insulting. So you have a negative connotation to those words. I don't. If you're going to bring that up as your policies, people can point out.
So let me get this right. So let me get this straight. If Donald Trump or any members of administration insult somebody and call them gay, you don't think that's inappropriate, and you're totally okay with that?
Why is it an insult?
Okay with that language? I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. So if somebody in a negative connotation said, oh, he's gay, what a gay candidate, Donald Trump, it could be Pete Hegseth, whoever. I want you on the record, Andrew. You're totally fine with that language for some of the most powerful people in Donald Trump and his administration. You're totally okay with that. Oh, you're gay, or use a homophobic slur, or say you're trans in a negative way. You're totally.
But why is it negative? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like if it was directed at me, it's only your internal feelings that make you think it's negative.
You're lost, because it's
just how you interpret it.
You're lost. No, it's how most adults. It's how most adults interpret.
If you insult me by calling me a dirty Republican, which you actually think is an insult, I don't think it's an insult, so I don't give a shit.
There's a difference between calling somebody a dirty Republican. Okay, I can't believe I have to explain this to you.
Because one's about sexuality.
When you attack somebody and you say you're gay or you're trans, what you're basically doing is putting a negative effect on that word to people that are gay and trans. As I said again, Stephen Miller knows that James Talarico is not trans. He's calling him trans to use it as an insult, with anybody that's logical would understand that. That's why it is inappropriate and immature. And I would expect maybe a bunch of 9-year-olds to be talking like that, not somebody who is in Donald Trump's cabinet. It's immature and it's wrong. If you want to go after Talarico, then talk about policy. Talk about
that's what I'm doing. I'm saying he's the one that brought these policies. Yes, his policies have to do with trans people. He brought policies that have to do with that. And then you're saying we can't mention it. That's my point. I would say that it's wrong to do that. And I would use logic to go back to the beginning and realize who actually put these people at the forefront of their movement and put them in the spotlight to get this scrutiny. Who did that? Not the Republicans. We didn't do that.
What policies are you talking about?
You tried to get Talarico tries to get emotional votes, and it's his fault for putting the spotlight on them.
What Talarico policy are you referring to? What Talarico policy?
Do you have a policy, Andrew? And then we'll move on.
I don't. I'm just assuming that they're the normal leftist policies. If Trump mentioned 6 genders, I'm telling you why a Republican would be upset and why signaling that this is the policies of that person. That's what Trump was doing. Why that's effective.
The two of you.
Why that's effective. Because he was telling me, if I trust the president, what his policies are.
Last 60 seconds, and we'll move on to Cassandra.
All right.
Go ahead, Brian.
Those are his policies, clearly.
Hold on. You were just defending Stephen Miller, calling.
No, just Trump. I don't know what Stephen Miller said.
That's the whole argument. What the fuck are you talking about?
I thought this was a Trump quote.
Oh my God. All right, let me start over here. Andrew's struggling to understand.
No, I only saw the Trump quote. That's all I saw.
Okay. All right, so let me just help you out. It was Stephen Miller that made the statement that Talarico was trans. You claimed that Talarico has all these trans policies. I asked you to name one policy that Talarico helped pass that's pro-trans. You couldn't even name one. So what the fuck are we talking about? And by the way, the reason why
what I said was Trump is signaling that this person has trans-friendly policies by saying that, and that's what Stephen Miller is doing as well. Yes, he's casting shade on his political opponents and letting me one. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is he's signaling that that's what these policies are. Whether or not that's correct is not my claim. I'm telling you what he's doing. You think that he's insulting them.
Okay.
He's signaling to his base what this person's policies are. So if you take your feelings out of it, you would understand that. And then we can research and look up what the policies are. That's what voters are
Let's
supposed
go
to do.
ahead and move on to Cassandra, and we'll get some new conversation in. And don't worry, Andrew and Brian, you'll have your chance to dance again later. Cassandra, welcome over to Mater Nation. It was such a pleasure to talk to you earlier over on Spin's show. I'm happy you were finally able to make your way onto this panel. Do you have a question or comment to Brian? I think you're muted on your end, not the StreamYard. Do you have a button on your mic? No. That's all right.
You may have to go into the settings. He had to do it on mine, sir.
Yeah, try to toggle your. Oh, there you are! Yay!
Am I here?
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, Sarah. Thank you for having me, and good evening, Brian.
Hi.
So, hi, Brian. Are you sure you don't have internalized transphobia?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, from what I've gleaned so far, you appear, in my perception, to see when somebody uses the word trans against someone, you seem to have the ability to adopt the inner workings of that individual's intent.
So what do you think Stephen Miller's intent was?
I don't know. I'm not Stephen Miller.
You don't know. So when Stephen Miller says Texas has their first trans candidate in Talarico, you can't come up with a logical reason what that means or why he did that? You think he really means that Talarico's trans? Is that what you think?
I can tell you this.
Somehow that makes me
You want to railroad me. You don't want me to talk. I'm going to give you a response. You see, it's like this, Brian. If I hear someone call someone else trans, I don't immediately make a context assumption. Because without the context, I'm not going to understand the intent.
There's no context. So there's no context other than he put out a tweet. Okay. They look at Talarico as they look at Talarico as a threat to Republicans. He's running against Ken Paxton. Talarico is pretty popular within the Democrats. So Stephen Miller put out a tweet saying, with a picture of Talarico saying, Texas has their first trans candidate. So that's all the context we have. So please give me a logical explanation by your own standards. I gave you mine. I see it as an insult towards trans people and an insult towards Talarico. They also call him low T. They say he's a closet homosexual. So please give me your context on why. Please give me, he has a girlfriend. I don't know why that's even relevant, but he does have a girlfriend.
My husband had a wife.
Okay, so whatever, who cares? Give me your context as to why you think Stephen Miller said that, why you would disagree with me, and I just give me your context give me another logical explanation other than he was mocking Talarico. Give me another.
Well, that sounds like your argument is that he was mocking Talarico. I never said that.
Okay, so give me your explanation then. What do you think he was doing?
Well, he was probably celebrating trans inclusion by making the very first trans politician possible.
All right, you're not a serious person. I'm sorry, my friend.
Am I not a serious person?
No.
Are you a serious person?
For you to yes,
I have internalized. You have internalized transphobia.
Okay, I think you have internalized. I think you have internalized low IQ. Okay, this person who I'm speaking with thinks that the reason why. I understand there's people on this panel that disagree with me politically, and that's great. That's fine. I wonder if there's anybody on this panel that would agree that Stephen Miller saying James Talarico is the first trans candidate in Texas is some sort of pro-trans tweet. Is there anybody on this panel
what's my gender?
Is there?
What's my gender?
Don't know, and I don't care. I don't care.
Oh, but you should.
Is there anybody, hold on a second. Is there anybody on this panel, including you, Sarah, that thinks that the reason why Stephen Miller said the first trans candidate is James Talarico is to be pro-trans. Is there anybody here? You can disagree or agree with the tweet, whatever. But is there anybody that agrees with this person, that Cassandra, that was a pro-trans tweet? Go ahead.
Did I say it was pro-trans?
Regardless regardless, he asked the panel, right? Sarah, are you good?
Spin. Go ahead, Spin.
Okay.
You respond to
regardless whether what the context of his tweet was, regardless was it pro-trans or against trans, he was pointing out the fact that he's trans and he's running for political office. You sir, are radicalizing what he said
not trans. What are you
and propagandizing it. That's what
Talarico.
Like, it's obvious that he was trying to say that Talarico is some kind of girly man, or he's less manly or anything like that.
Thank you.
So what? Does that was okay?
Trolling, you fucking idiots.
Well, I know he's a troll.
What's wrong with being a
so is
girly
Brian.
man?
He's a troll.
Absolutely nothing. But when people use words like that as a pejorative, when it's not an actual pejorative, it's advertising their hate. It's dog whistling.
Exactly.
It's not to actually insult the person. It's to say to all the other people that hate this thing, hey, look at me hating in public. You can come hate in public too. So therefore, we should go dog pile and hate in public.
Was there anything in that tweet, Effigy, that was making fun of him? The answer is no. Shut up, Avatar.
Yes.
Shut up, Avatar.
You got to be kidding me. I can't believe you're even asking that.
I looked at the fucking tweet, Shapiro. There was nothing in there that was transphobic or anything. All he said
no, he's telling what their policies are.
So what? Shut up,
so
bro.
Angry American.
Can I ask?
Is
he
Talarico
trans?
No, he's not. So that's the. And by the
How
way,
do you know that?
How do you
know that?
All right, you're not a serious person.
I am a serious person.
How do you know that?
No, I do want to know. So he's not trans.
He's absolutely not trans.
He's absolutely not. He's never. It's not even anywhere near what this guy is.
Well, then how is it an insult? Well, hold on. How is it an insult then if he's not trans, and and he called him transgender?
As the last person just said, just like everybody else on the right, they're calling him a girly man. They're calling him low T. They're saying that he's gay, and calling him trans is just another layer there. Anybody,
Brian, do you see trans as weak?
Hold on.
No,
I guess my point is, like, if you called me
is everyone playing dumb here tonight?
Hold on a second. If you called me I don't know. You called me something and I'm not that something. Why would I be so insulted?
A black girl.
If you called me like ratchet or something, right?
It's the same as if somebody calls somebody.
Hey, Shapiro, when the host is talking, the rules in here are you shut up.
Stop. Spin, what the fuck?
Angry American, go fuck yourself. You don't tell me what to do. I'll leave right now if you're going to stay in here. Why don't you get the fuck out of here?
I didn't hear what you said, Brian.
Yeah, this guy, Angry American, he's trying to boss me around. Go fuck yourself, Angry American. Okay, I don't even know who you are. Okay, go fuck yourself. As far as what you were saying, Sarah, earlier, if you call somebody a homophobic slur, like a word that starts with the letter F, the three-letter word, right? A homophobic slur. There are people that are gay that would, I think, find that a little bit insulting. But here's the bigger picture that I'm trying to explain, is that when you're in office and you're an elected official and you're in a powerful position, and you use those types of terms to insult people, which is obviously what Stephen Miller was doing. If there's anybody in this panel that thinks that Stephen Miller was calling Talarico trans because he wanted to be pro-trans or he wasn't insulting him, then I'm sorry, I can't help you guys. Okay. That's beneath, it's beneath it.
I don't know if whether it's an insult or not would be the question, but I mean, my God, it's the internet. We get called names all the time. And unless you're actually doing defamation or slander of some sort, right? I think that's like with the F slur. I remember we used that in middle school. It was the word of the day, right? It wasn't until later. Well, hold on. It wasn't until later until we suddenly were told, oh, it's not nice to say those things to people. But we called each other that word all the time and it didn't mean anything.
But Sarah, here's the difference. We're not talking about any of us on this panel. I wouldn't do that, but we're not talking about any of us on this panel. We're not talking about somebody on social media.
Sure?
We're talking about one of the biggest names on the right in the White House. There is a standard. We're not talking about 10-year-old grade schoolers here. This is standard. This is Stephen Miller, who apparently doesn't have any standards. And I guess there's some people on this panel that are totally okay with people in the White House using homophobic slurs or attacking somebody maybe for being trans or being gay. I think it's wrong. I think it's inappropriate. And the fact that there are people here that don't think that that's a negative thing to attack James Talarico and low T, gay, or in this case, first trans candidate. It's immature, it's stupid. And these are elected officials and very powerful people that shouldn't be talking like that. It's because they don't have any substance. That's why they're not talking about Talarico's policy. And guess who the guy is that they're defending? A lifelong criminal, a lifelong cheater. The Republican Party outed Ken Paxton. He's a thief. But they want to support that guy, but attack James Talarico and call him low T or trans. I just think it's absurd.
But where's the slur? None of those are slurs.
Hold on.
Where's the
I want to hand
homophobic
it back
slur?
I want to hand it back to Cassandra to finish up. Did you have any other final question or thought to that?
Brian, are you a straight white male?
Why is that relevant to this conversation?
Because you're acting like a straight white male. You're acting like a straight white male
okay,
who doesn't have an insight.
Okay. Well, I think you're acting like an idiot. Okay, so
am I acting
really
like an idiot? Are you calling a trans person an idiot? Are you calling a trans person low IQ? Oh, now you don't care, but you cared a lot before, didn't you? Yes, you can talk too. Yes, go.
When in this conversation, when did I care whether you were trans or not? When did I?
Oh, gee, it's been your whole premise of your conversation so far is worrying about what trans people think. Oh, but it has. Oh, I am listening.
You're not listening. Okay, so listen to this, okay?
Yes.
If I call you an idiot or I think you're very low IQ, it has nothing to do with your sexuality and it has nothing to do whether you're trans or not. I could care less.
No, it has everything to do with your. Okay? It has everything to do with your flawed perception.
Okay, you're not a serious. You just said that you think Stephen Miller claimed that James Talarico is trans as some sort of pro-trans messaging. So you are not a serious person.
Is that literally what I said? Is that literally what I said?
Everybody on
you
the panel
know that we could replay this, and that's not literally what I said.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to comment on this? Because
yeah.
Where's the homophobic slur? You said there was slurs.
Yes. Where's that?
There are people. I didn't say Stephen Miller used a homophobic slur, but I did say that there are people on. Yeah, I didn't say that Stephen Miller used a homophobic slur. What I did say is that Stephen Miller called him trans as some sort of insult, which I think is beneath that. And I can't believe that.
And that's your internalized transphobia.
Okay, that's what it is. I'm very intelligent.
Just accept it. You're transphobic. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay. It's okay.
Go ahead. Let's move on to Spin. Spin, what is your question or comment?
Why, Brian, why do you keep letting cultural propaganda or words control how you feel?
It's probably the dumbest question that's somebody's asked me, at least today. I'm not. Here's what I am doing, and you're not listening. What I'm saying is when you insult somebody and use 8th grade humor or whatever you want to call it, whether it is a slur or whether in this case, Stephen Miller calling Talarico trans, which by the way, he's not, or whether you call him low T, there's a lot of right wingers on social media that are elected officials that are calling him low T. They're saying he's a closet homosexual. When you're an elected official or whether you're in a very powerful position, which Stephen Miller is in, it is beneath that office to use that language and to insult people like that. I think it's stupid and it's wrong. And if they actually had anything of substance to attack James Talarico on, like policy-wise, but they don't. That's what they're going on. And I would say the same on the left or the right. If you're an elected official or you're in a very powerful position and you're attacking people based on thinking that they're girly men or that they're low T or that they're trans, it's stupid. It's stupid. Our elected officials should be more mature than that. I think it's wrong. That's the whole point that I was trying to make.
Okay. So if I were to call you a cracker, or some sort of racial slur on the internet, or I tweeted this, are you really a cracker?
Are you an elected official in a powerful position?
I don't care. I don't care about that. I'm asking you as a person in this human life, would you care if somebody called you a cracker?
I think it's stupid.
You think it's stupid?
For the cracker.
Yeah. But we're not talking about But this
No,
is important.
This all
This is
correlates to somebody calling somebody a trans. It's that person that may or may not be trans. If it's true or not, why would they care?
Let me ask you a question.
It's just like me going to call you probably more than once tonight a retard. Do you care if I call you a retard?
I don't even want to even converse with you if you're going to talk.
You don't want to converse with me, but you asked for a panel.
No.
You all you do is insult. No. All you've done up here tonight is insult.
Yeah, I've called people idiots. Sure.
Yeah, of course. So do you think you calling me an idiot is going to bother me?
So, angry American, let me explain again my position. I don't know who you are. I would assume you're not an elected official.
But you will.
You're not. Okay. How about just let me finish my sentence? Can we start there?
I'm
not
just
an elected.
Doing what you do.
Okay. Are you going to shut up now? Let me know when I can talk.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's hear.
I'm not here to talk.
Rhetoric.
I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to talk to you. You're here to talk to me. Okay. So just let me respond.
Okay.
You are not an elected official. You're not one of the highest people in office on the right, which Stephen Miller is. Should be a higher standard for people that are elected officials that are some of the most prominent names in the White House. We're not talking about just regular everyday people. I think there should be a higher standard. Do I think it's appropriate for people to call people crackers or, using those terms? We're talking about people that have a higher job, prominent, like Stephen Miller is in the White House. Are you not getting what we're not talking about just you and me here. That'd be one thing. We're talking about Stephen Miller, elected the president of the United States. These are people that should be held to a higher standard than people like you and me. Do you disagree with that?
I don't disagree with that, but would you say that we should hire the feelings police because this person said this person said that, and we should persecute them?
Where did I say that Stephen Miller should be persecuted for calling somebody trans? When did I say that?
I didn't say you did. But
okay,
what you're advocating for is somebody should be held accountable for saying somebody's trans or whatever. That's what I'm hearing the argument is.
Well, get the MAGA wax out of your ears and let me try to explain myself once again. Okay. Okay. Angry American, let me try to explain myself once again. Okay. I personally believe it's beneath the office that nobody in the White House or prominent people like Stephen Miller, who are in very prominent political positions, should be using that terminology. I think it's stupid. I think it's wrong. I think it's immature. I think it's beneath the presidency and anybody else who holds a higher power in the White House. And the only reason why Stephen Miller and many people on the right are doing that is because they have no substance. If they did, they would be attacking Talarico on his record. They'd be talking about his policies. They're not doing that. And the guy that they are defending is Ken Paxton, a lifelong criminal, a scumbag, a cheater, and a guy whose own party outed him. But they have nothing to go on when it comes to Ken Paxton. So they call him trans or gay, or they say he's low T. It's pathetic. I'm not saying that anybody should be prosecuted for it. I'm not saying anybody should be held accountable for it, because nobody is held accountable in the Trump administration. We know that now. All I'm simply saying is I think it's childish, I think it's stupid, and I think it's wrong. I'm not saying it's against the law. I've never said that.
Okay. So my last question, Sarah, and then I'll yield. Do you think that Stephen Miller does not have a First Amendment right to say whatever he wants to anybody he wants?
Again,
are you trying to say that he doesn't have a First Amendment right?
As I just said, again, I already answered that.
Just because it's an idiocracy doesn't mean he doesn't have the right to say whatever he wants.
What have I said in this conversation? I literally just said 60 seconds ago that I'm not saying he should be prosecuted for it. And I never said he doesn't have the right to say it. I never said that. I don't know where you're getting that from.
So you are basing your opinion off your personal opinion and alluding that you know what he was saying and why he said it. That's
so
what
you tell
doing.
me that.
I yield the floor. I'm done arguing right now.
I would love a logical explanation as to why you think Stephen Miller said that, other than to mock this man. I would love another explanation. The only other explanation I heard was, oh, well, he was being pro-trans, which obviously no reasonable person would believe.
Who said that?
Okay, there's one person on this panel, and I don't need to converse with this
clarifying
person,
if that was me.
But
you will though.
But there's no reasonable human being that thinks Stephen Miller is pro-trans, or Stephen Miller called Talarico trans because it's a pro-trans message. Obviously, there's no reasonable person that would believe that. The reason why Talarico said it was because it was a cheap shot insult, or an attempt at a cheap shot insult at Talarico. That's why he did it. And all I'm simply saying again is I think it's wrong. I think it's stupid. I think it's beneath anybody who holds office to talk like that. I think it's wrong.
Okay, so Sarah, I take that back. So your interview with Pam Hemphill, do you know how stupid that was? And I yield the floor. We'll put a pin in that one.
That's a wonderful comment there.
We're going to talk about
stupid,
that.
Calling something stupid.
I have stuff that you don't know about Pamela Hemphill. But anyway, Sarah,
I don't really care. Don't really care what stuff he claims he has on Pam Hemphill. The only reason why I had her on was to bring
her
up
sob story because she's not irrelevant. She's irrelevant now.
Okay. Well, I would say she's probably a little bit more relevant than you. I'm
sorry,
certainly not going to be inviting you on any shows anytime soon. So Pam's done CNN. She's done Fox News. Pam has done all the national network shows. I would say she also got a letter from our former Vice President, Mike Pence. Let me know, angry American, when you get a letter from the Vice President. I think she's a little bit more relevant than you are. Okay. Next.
All right, Alex. So welcome back, my love. We missed you so much. I hope all has been well in your nice little hiatus from YouTube. All right, question or comment to Brian?
It's primarily a comment. Hey, Brian, I've called into your show a couple times, actually. I don't know if you recognize
What's up, man?
Yep.
What's up, man?
So basically, it's more of like a comment, essentially. Now,
sure.
Just to kind of explain to the rest of the panel a little bit more clear context, because we need to understand something. When people like Jasmine Crockett speak out, what's the one thing that the right tends to do? They call her ghetto because she's loud and obnoxious. That's kind of the point of the whole matter. They're trying to emasculate James Talarico. And it's not because Brian and I think that trans people are bad. It's because the right thinks that trans people are bad. And for the record, we're not the ones talking about trans people. We're not the ones focused on them coming into women's locker rooms. It's the Republicans focusing upon that while they say nothing about their president who did the exact same fucking thing. They don't give a shit about that because they have no context, essentially. When it comes down to it, when we talk about substance and policies and things like that, what is it they talk about? They talk about three primary categories. They talk about the trans community, they talk about the migrant community, now they're talking about the Muslim community again. They're picking on candidates like Abdul El Sayed out of Michigan. They're not attacking his policies, they're attacking his religion, they're attacking his skin color, and he knows these things. Same thing with Zoran Mamdani. It's because the Republican right has no substance. They don't give a shit about policy. They are all about the bully schoolyard tactics, and we could do so much better because Ronald Reagan, when he made like jabs, it was funny and it was like slight jabs and stuff like that. That was more entertaining than the bullshit we're seeing right now. That's our point right there. And I know a lot of people are still going to do like whataboutisms or say something like, oh, well, you know, you guys just have soft skin. We don't have soft skin. Every single time we talk about policies like, hey, healthcare is a human right, or there's rural hospitals closing down all across the countries, you're going to start asking me questions. And Sarah, you remember when I did my Throw on Thursday? I talked about trans issues once. What did everybody want to talk about when they came on the panel? They wanted to talk about trans issues. I talked about environmental racism. I talked about healthcare. I talked about rural issues. I talked about all different kinds of issues, but they wanted to talk about trans issues. I think it's because they're secretly chasers or guys that are a little hiding in the closet and they're just waiting to bust right out. I don't know. None of my business. Hey, I listen, I don't judge kind of deal. But the fact of the matter is, Brian, you and I, we understand what's going on here. But they don't understand. Either they don't understand or they don't want to understand, or they're just trying to, get a rise out of you. So what do you think, Brian?
Yeah. Well, I agree with what you just said, Alex, wholeheartedly. The problem I have with the far right today is they only see themselves through their own lens and not other people. And that's what I try to tell other people is that, I don't know what it's like to be trans. I don't know what it's like to be gay, but I listen to other people. I try to listen to other people and I try to figure out how they have been victims, how they have been talked down to because of their sexuality or because they might be trans. and I try to listen to people. And I think I don't speak for the gay community, but when somebody says Gay Pride Month, I think, okay, be prideful for who you are. There's nothing wrong with being gay. There's nothing wrong with being trans. You should be able to be prideful for who you are. It doesn't mean that you should tell other people that they should be gay or they should be trans. No, of course I would be against that, but most people are not doing that. Be prideful for who you are, be happy for who you are, and you shouldn't be talked down to because of your sexuality or because you're trans. And I think, Alex, we both agree, we all understand what Stephen Miller was doing, even people on the right. Come on. Stephen Miller knows that James Talarico is a straight white male with a girlfriend, but he was using that trans comment as an insult. And it'd be one thing, and I still wouldn't agree with it, but it'd be one thing if somebody on this panel talked like that. Okay, fine. I don't agree with it. But it's another thing when somebody that high up in the White House is using that sort of attack, which is the way most people see it. It's stupid. It's stupid. I think it's immature. It's wrong. And they don't have anything of substance to go after James Talarico on. So they call him low T. They call him trans. They say he's in the closet gay. He's a girly man. He's a vegan. It's all just stupid nonsense because they can't go after his policies. And the fact that he's a nice guy, he's a normal guy, he's a nice guy, he's a smart guy. And they're going to be in the corner of Ken Paxton. Are you fucking kidding me? Does anybody in this panel know the history of Ken Paxton? What he's done, the criminality? Of course they don't.
They don't care.
Yeah. The guy who's cheated on his wife, God knows how many times, and she just recently divorced him because of that. A guy who preaches the Bible, a guy who has literally stolen money. He's a thief. Oh, yeah, by the way, the guy who got out, a guy who went in jail for 30 days, who openly admitted to sexually abusing a child. And what did Ken Paxton do? Got him out of jail, his get out of jail free card. James Talarico hasn't done any of that stuff, but Ken Paxton has. So if you really want to talk about substance, let's talk about substance. The policies of Ken Paxton, the life of Ken Paxton, between the policies and the life of James Talarico. I'll happily do that with anybody.
Sounds good. All right, I'm good, Sarah. Thank you so much for being so gracious.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for calling into the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. I love you so much. For the win. Welcome back, my friend. Go for it.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, Brian, for coming back here for round 2, right? I wanted to first ask you a question from round 1.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
You said that you were going to address the ear comment on the radio the next day. How did that end up turning out for you? What ended up was said?
I'm sorry. Help me I don't remember. So you're going to have to refresh my memory.
It was the ear effing comment. And it was just quite the joke the rest of the night from round 1 and everything. And then you were saying that you were going to bring it back up on your radio show and everything. I was just curious as to what your listeners thought about it, if you mentioned it at all.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Maybe I'm getting like Joe Biden. I have Alzheimer's. I don't know. I don't remember what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I really don't.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I'm being honest. I really don't.
No. Okay. That's fine. As far as like the conversation that we're having with it, when I've heard James Talarico, and even before this comment, my personal perception of it, he does sound like a low T individual. He sounds effeminate. He sounds like that. That's my perception. So when it comes into election season and the mudslinging happens and all these attack ads come on, in the last election cycle, I can think of countless commercials that were played that were even harsher than this comment right here. And I do agree that what you're saying here, that when you're in a position of power, that office means something. And that's where you're coming from. That's where your problem really is with this. So my question is when you call us Trump mushroom gobblers, or the slinging that was done against JD Vance, calling him a couch fucker and all this kind of stuff. Isn't that a two-way street? Or is it just like a free-for-all SNL episode that we can just be able to rip the administration, whoever's in office, Republican or Democrat?
Sure, I'll answer that. So first of all, different standards a little bit, maybe for different people. I'm a podcaster. I'm not an elected official. I'm not in public office.
I heard
that. Don't like what Okay, so if you don't like what I have to say, then my recommendation is don't watch my YouTube page, don't listen to my show, and turn the page. We're talking about the president of the United States. And let me tell you something else, my friend. You know who I think is low T? The guy who wakes up in the morning, I would imagine somebody who you voted for, the guy who puts on 8 layers of orange makeup, wearing a girdle, looking like the clown that he is every day, with his 4 hair transplants, his fake teeth, and his fake tan. That's a guy who I think is low T, the guy who dodged the military 5 times, not a guy like James Talarico. So if you think James Talarico is low T, or you don't think he's a man's man, okay, fine. You have the right to believe that. And if you would rather vote for a guy like Ken Paxton, who's a lifelong criminal, okay, the guy who is a pedo protector, then go ahead and vote for Ken Paxton. But I think the guy who puts on,
well, I won't be able to. That's for the voters of Texas to decide.
Okay, that's fine.
You know,
but I think low T is Donald Trump, the guy who's dodged the military and puts on 8 layers of orange makeup looking like a clown every day. That's the guy who I think is low T, not a guy like James Talarico, who seems like a good, decent man. It doesn't attack people based on skin color, doesn't attack people based on sexuality, doesn't attack women on looks. Okay, the way that Donald Trump does it seems like almost on a daily basis. I think if you're doing that, then I think you're the one with the low T. And we're not talking about a podcaster here. Okay, I'm a talk show host. I'm a political commentator. I'm not an elected official. I'm not the leader of the free world. Different standards for different people.
But shouldn't the respect be given to that office, regardless of who's holding it?
No, absolutely not. No. Why should I respect somebody who lies to the American people every day? Why should I respect somebody who only cares about himself and only enriches himself and his family? Why should I respect somebody? Why should I respect somebody like that? No, of course not. You think we should have to? Did you guys respect?
But he's the office holder. That's your argument, is that he's the office holder. So shouldn't it be a two-way street regardless?
Absolutely not. The fact that you say that you should have to respect Donald Trump because he's the president is insane. I completely disagree with that premise. And by the way, these are the same people who attack Joe Biden nonstop. He's in the bunker. He's sick. He's this. He's a pedophile. He sniffs hair. So I mean, listen.
Well, he does. Listen, I mean, we've seen it on video, dude.
Okay.
Like,
yeah. Well, who's the guy who's okay? So who's the guy who's in the Epstein files 40,000 times? Is it Joe Biden or is it Donald Trump? Who's the guy who's in the Epstein files? Who's the guy who's got 30?
Isn't that interesting, Brian? You can say that he's been listed 40,000 times, and yet there's not a single shred of proof. There's nothing. There's no nothing out of it. Nothing has come out of it or anything.
Okay. So
and the stuff that hasn't been released is still under an ongoing criminal investigation. And there's going to be names like we've heard on both the left and the right that are going to be in this. It's going to be mass chaos and anarchy. It's just straight up will be.
I don't care about chaos and anarchy. I want people held to account if they molested children. Has Joe Biden ever been found liable for sexually abusing somebody?
Not yet.
He hasn't. Okay. Has Donald Trump?
Not yet.
Wait a second. Donald Trump hasn't been found liable for sexually abusing somebody? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, civil cases, not criminally.
Yeah. Okay. So I just said liable. Please pay attention. And
okay.
What is it?
Liable. Well, let's talk about that specifically. No, you don't have a stutter.
Hold on. Let's try this again. Has Joe Biden been found liable for sexually abusing anybody? Yes or no?
No.
Thank you. Has Donald Trump been found liable for sexually abusing anybody? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, well then, Sarah, let's move on to the next person because we have another non-serious individual.
Let me try to educate. It's not being non-serious because when you're attacking.
No, I'm not attacking anybody. The fact of the matter is that Donald Trump was found liable in a court in New York.
A court in New York that is made up and comprised of whom? By who, though, Brian? By who? By who?
Okay, by a jury of his peers. You're not a serious person. Next.
That are 90% Democrat.
By a jury.
It was a complete witch hunt, Brian. It was a witch hunt.
Let's go with that. Okay, hold on. Can you name me one person on that jury, their name and their political affiliation?
I can't. No, I can't.
You can't. Okay, then you're a moron.
What I do know that area in Manhattan is 90% Democrat.
Right,
I can do the math.
Sarah,
you can't apparently, Brian.
This is why I call people morons on your panel. Next.
Oh goodness, effigy. Excuse me.
I'm gonna get a Powerade. I'll be right back. Give me 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Because
I'll personally
get your red dye 40.
I'll say I don't think you guys are morons.
Go ahead, Brian.
I love all of you, no matter what, and your opinions are your own, and you formulate them based on stuff that you read or watch or whatever. So I love you. Okay.
All right, but Sarah.
But before I make my comment, I'll just say to the last comment that it doesn't invalidate any kind of court decision just because you don't like where it's done or who does it, right? That's what we get told every time a Supreme Court makes a decision. So I don't see how
it was a weaponized trial, effigy. That's straight up.
Right.
Sure.
It's only weaponized.
Trump.
It's only
you were afraid.
Weaponized
You were afraid that he was going to become the president again.
You had your turn for the win.
Slander him with everything else. Shame on you guys. Shame on you.
It's not. No, shame on you.
Cry me a fucking river, you fucking baby.
So
it's not.
Yeah,
Brian,
we won.
not
And we're not going to
Brian.
lose power either, guys. So good luck with that. Good luck.
I'm just going to make a quick comment.
Sure.
Because I'm on Brian's side, so I want to let the people who are counter to you a little bit more time. So I was going to say something completely different, but then you guys went down this fucking rabbit hole, so I have to just jump in on this because apparently everybody's just lost their brain on basic shit. Language is how you process reality. When we use an identity, whether it's like ethnicity, religion, or anything else, as a slur, it rewires how people perceive that group. Pejorative identity labeling creates dehumanization. When people are repeatedly described with derogatory shorthand, it strips away empathy. And in social psychology, this is the prerequisite for systemic mistreatment. And it's harder to do that to people that you can actually see your own humanity reflected in. It is the literal foundation for how you get to the atrocities that we've seen in the world. You start with pejorative language and slurs, move on to harassment and open aggressions, systemic discriminations, extreme violent atrocities. So this is what we're talking about when you guys sit here and think it's okay just to try and turn someone's identity, name, or whatever into a slur just by saying it and be like, yeah.
I think that's very well said. I just want to be clear.
Let's be honest. The real reason. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, Effigy, I'm sorry I interrupted you. I just 10 seconds here. I just wanted to, this is really important. And I agree with what you just said. It's not an opinion when you say Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. Now, you can disagree with it. You can say, well, I disagree with the jury. Okay, fine, whatever. But I'm not giving an opinion. Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. You could say, well, it was a kangaroo court. Fine. Say whatever the fuck you want to say. I don't care. But the bottom line is that Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser, and a jury of his peers found him liable for abusing E. Jean Carroll. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. It's an opinion if you say, I don't agree with the jury. It's not an opinion when you say Donald Trump's a liable sexual abuser. It's very important.
Can I ask you? All right.
Well,
also, let's just be honest. The real reason that they're attacking Talarico is that Talarico represents a stripe of left-wing Christianity that they cannot stand. A type of left-wing, here to heal, caring Christianity that is the antithesis to this right-wing Jesus carrying machine guns and dropping bombs on children fucking Christianity that is the heart of Christian nationalism. That's why they're going after Talarico so hard, not all this other shit.
Yeah, how do you know what other people are thinking? How do you know that?
Andrew, we're still in round robin. No, stop it.
Because I'm psychic.
What about us, though? How do you know
hold
that?
on. We're coming back. All right, let's move on. We're going to do Clay and then Connor.
Really quick before we move on, because I didn't get to it before. On the Iran thing, all market manipulation. Every single time that he has said that the deal is in, it's all market manipulation. People putting bets in, putting bets on Polymarket, putting bets on the stock market every single fucking time, which is, I think, in the 40s at this point, the number of times he said we're about to have a deal, every single bit of it, market manipulation. Thank you.
Thank you, Effigy. And then we're going to do Clay, and then we'll get counterpoints, and then we will move into full open floor. So hang tight, everyone. I know it's hard to get through round robin sometimes. Clay, sir, your thoughts, please.
Hi, thank you, Sarah, for putting this on. Hi, Brian. Welcome
What's up,
back.
man?
Thank you for coming back. Appreciate it.
I love the torture. I love it. I'm just kidding.
I bet. Hey, it's a lot of fun over here, man. I tell you, Sarah's got the best show. She really does, man. I was gonna actually ask Effigy how it works whenever the same thing turns around on Christian, but he literally answered that for me before I even got to my point where I was going to talk. He literally did exactly what I was going to ask him about Christians and it getting turned around on Christians. But look, Brian, obviously, we're not going to agree on everything. I sit center and I lean right. I'm not like these other guys. I don't give a damn about all this the sexuality bullshit as long as you keep it away from the little ones. None of that shit makes any sense to me. I don't see what the big fuss is. Like, even like going into a big fit over what somebody called you on the playground, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 2 days ago. I don't see the big point of it. I did see, though, today's show with you and Andre, and I want to give you a big kudos on that. That was classy, bro. I've seen Andre, and sometimes he's on, sometimes he's not. And today he was not. I did like how you pointed out how he was saying that he did not respect the Constitution. He actually said it. He said he did not respect the Constitution. He said it right out of his own mouth.
He just said it's a piece of paper. He said it was just a piece of paper, right?
I couldn't believe it.
Can I ask you, Clay, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you think Andre is serious with the things he says?
Not
after
you think
today. You think he just, because I don't think he's serious. I think he says things just to get a reaction. I was going to ask you that as
he
a
was
listener.
trolling you. He was trolling you.
Yeah.
I was trying to call in too, but you had a busy line, man. That was bloop, bloop, busy. Yeah.
I do have some good news though. Thank you. We are going to get Hunter Biden on the show. They've confirmed. So that's going to be an interesting interview. Who do I have tomorrow? Destiny. And did you see the Rubin Jubilee? Did you guys see that? It just came out in the last day.
Man, I'm so focused on local politics right now. In fact, I was going to ask you today, but since you're here, about that. Like, obviously, you do focus a lot on the federal politics. From what I understand, you're out of Vegas. You pay a lot of attention to your state and local politics, like your city. I mean, Vegas.
I'll be honest with you, not as much as I used to, because my job now is to cover the national stuff. And that's obviously, I think our governor Joe Lombardo is an absolute douchebag. I could give you a lot of reasons why. I
figure you probably don't agree with him. He's
well,
right off.
I'll give you a quick example of why I say that. I don't know if you know a woman by the name of Michelle Fiore. She's somebody that Donald Trump pardoned. She got money donated for a police officer fund for 2 fallen officers. Yeah. She was found guilty, and she was found guilty from using that money for liposuction and paying for her daughter's wedding. Joe Lombardo, the governor, called himself
a story about that. Yeah.
And here's what makes it worse, Clay. Joe Lombardo donated money to this fund. He openly called himself a victim in a court of law. When Donald Trump pardoned Michelle Fiore, which is a disgrace, Lombardo silenced crickets. He didn't say anything because he's a coward. He's a coward. And this is Joe Lombardo's a guy who used to be a police officer. He used to be the sheriff here. By the way, the sheriff we have now, Kevin McMahill, he's a Republican. He's a good guy. I'm friends with him. I would assume he probably voted for Trump, but he's a good, decent man. Lombardo is a piece of shit. So unfortunately, I think he's going to win re-election because I think the Democrats that are running against him are not the best candidates. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant here, but to answer your question,
I'm glad you're giving me your take on the local politics, right? So like that's what I do. I promote the idea of local politics, and I know that somebody's got to do the Fed stuff too. So
Michael McDonald, as I call him, Ronald McDonald, the chair of the Republican Party, is someone who was a part of the fake electorate scheme a few years ago. I think he's a really bad guy. The reason why I don't talk a lot of local politics is because it's not really what drives listeners,
people know what's on the national level, and they know what's on the national level, whereas they only know what's in their own region too. So no, I understand that. So let's just quick on this this whole calling people names and shit. Like I said, it's not that big a deal. Man, I've been around these YouTube streets. People call me all sorts of names. It's really not that big a deal for me, right? And I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's a low blow, especially when you're in a position of power. In fact, there's this little thing called quelling speech, right? So when people have power, they have the ability to quell people's rights, and they can do that in various different ways. And in particular, when they go on offensive tactics with politics, right? So I personally have had my free speech attempted to be quelled within my public comments multiple times, multiple ways. And it's insanity because these counselors think that I'm not going to just notice it. Right. And I'm like, you can't do that. You have a position of power. I don't. I can say certain things, whereas you have a position of power. You can't create a fear in me from being able to speak. And that's where it does get messy.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but the point I'm making, and I think you understand, is that when you're in that powerful position and you're an elected official, you're a Stephen Miller or a Donald Trump, there needs to be a higher standard. I'm sorry, you're supposed to be showing some leadership. When you call somebody trans or gay or low T, it's just so stupid. I guess these are the times that we're living in right now. It's one thing if you're a podcaster or you're somebody on this panel. Okay, that's one thing. Okay. But like when you're an elected official, I'm sorry. I just think that there's a higher standard. And I think Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and many people on the far right that are in Trump's administration are not abiding by what my opinion is would be those standards. And I think it's wrong. But you know what? It's going to bite them in the ass anyway.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
if that's all you're going to do is attack Talarico and call him low T or gay or trans, guess what? Talarico's winning in the polls right now. And if he defeats Ken Paxton, which I hope he does, I think he's an extremely intelligent young man. I was on a conservative talk show 5 or 6 years ago. I interviewed Talarico. Nobody knew who he was. I was done with that interview.
You know,
and
what
I said, wow,
too, Brian,
that kid could be president one day. I really believe that.
Americans are very smart and very compassionate, right? So I think that in this particular case, it's probably going to backfire more than Miller was hoping, right? But here's another thing, and I'm agreeing with the odd. Okay, I want you to know that, but I also want to bring up the point that the man himself, Mr. Talarico, is not putting out any kind of statement about that he didn't like it or that he's offended or anything.
No, he's staying away. He's staying away from it. Yeah.
And I get the idea of white knighting. I do it. I get it. But I just want to bring that point out because it's a caution. And I get what you're doing. I understand it 100%. I'm all about it. I do it 100%. But at the same time, it's a caution. But at the same time, I do understand both sides. That's why I lean right, but I'm center, right?
But Clay, you would agree with me that Stephen Miller did this as an insult, as to
mock absolutely, 100%. Yeah, he intended it as an insult. It's just like if I called you.
Right. Why is that so hard for people?
A pasty fool, right?
Exactly. Why is that so hard for people on this panel to admit? Like, I don't think you have to be an.
I don't think anybody's denying that part.
I think the idea is that it's a virtue signal to make a stink over, like, oh, he called him this.
That part,
But then in the same breath, Brian, you'll still call the Trump mushroom gobbler people, right?
Right. And if I was an elected official or I was the president or
you
somebody
would be held to a higher standard.
I would be held to a higher standard, and I can tell you right now, I wouldn't talk like that. But guess what?
Don't they represent
myself.
But what I'm saying is,
you're making my point.
But the people are okay with this stuff.
The majority of the people don't give a damn, Brian.
This is just a representation of society at its finest.
Just pointing it out.
Well, I represent myself. I don't represent.
But I understand your point too. Yes.
I own my own company.
And I love that you speak out against it because that is your job, but it's also your right, and you should. And so will I. I 100%. Right now, I will speak out against it and say that all things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial. How many times have I said that on this panel? Now, before I hand it over to Connor, I want to say thank you, and I want to say thank you to Sarah. And I also want to say that, Connor, you're a bitch. You're a pussy. You block people for just being normal fucking people in your chat. Fuck you.
Oh, wow. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Well, I've been there's a lot of people who are defending jacking off the kids in my chat recently, so I've been banning them.
Okay.
I mean, just to clarify, he went on a blocking rampage one day because he's got some very soft moderators. I mean, so soft. Let me tell you, these people are soft, softer than a lefty. Okay, they're soft. Okay, and he went on a rampage and just said, "Block everybody that disagrees with me," and that's literally how I got.
It's his channel. I've blocked people for less, just for being douchebags. All right, but if the two of you need a speed date later, I'm happy to oblige. Connor, welcome back, my friend. It's been a while. I hope you've been well. I hear there's lots of stuff humdrumming around for you. You have questions or comments for Brian, so I'll let you go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so Brian, I've watched a couple of your debates so far, and I have enjoyed them. But the interesting thing to me that I kind of bumped into during one of your debates was effectively you were saying, "Oh, well, you know, I don't know why I would make this my business," and it was specifically in reference to abortion and sexual morality. And this was with Rachel Wilson. And the reason why that kind of argumentation, I'll just say it like it falls flat with me, is because we understand, and I know abortion isn't necessarily the two topics that are hot right now, but I wanted to bring it up anyways. Obviously, like we might be able to agree from a descriptive perspective, maybe not every conservative would agree, that an inseminated embryo doesn't have the same level of consciousness as a baby. But I think we can agree that there's a substantially higher level of development of a fetus at 20 weeks. So why, when we're arguing about abortion or sexual morality or something like that, don't you say, no, at some point, this is my business. I do have to make a moral judgment. I'm going to make a moral judgment. And even if the law lands someplace besides me, I'm still going to I'm still going to criticize my worldview. And that was part of my frustration with your argumentation was you were saying, oh, well, you know, I'm not a woman, so I can't get pregnant, so I'm not going to make this judgment.
Well, first of all, I don't think geography should have any play over a woman's body. In this country, in almost half the states in this country, abortion is illegal. I think that's ridiculous. That's number one. As far as abortion goes, I wouldn't have a problem with a 5-month ban or something along those lines. I've been pretty consistent on that. But I also believe that there are people on the far right that think that if you're a young girl that's raped, you should be forced to have that baby. I think that's repulsive. That should be a decision between the family, the victim. So I also think, or the victim of incest. There are people on the right that feel that way. The reason why I say, yes, I'm a man and I don't know what it's like to be pregnant is because I feel like a lot of the policymakers and a lot of the people that were responsible for overturning Roe versus Wade are men, and they don't know what it's like to be pregnant. It is a personal decision that a woman should be making, I would assume, with her family, with people that love her, with doctors and that sort of thing. But I'll even take it a step further. For the people out there that call themselves pro-life, I want consistency. If you call yourself pro-life, then we should also care about that baby after the baby is born. For example, just about everybody on the right votes against maternity leave. They vote against every and any government program that would help a single mother raise that child. So I don't like to call people pro-life. I call them anti-abortion. I will call you pro-life, and I will respect your opinion on abortion a little bit more. And I don't know what your opinions are on this, by the way. I'm just speaking in general terms. If somebody will give government assistance or vote for candidates who vote for maternity leave and vote for government programs that can help women raise children, because that's also pro-life. And I believe you're anti-life if you're for this big and beautiful bill. Up to 20 million Americans losing their health care coverage. They're against maternity leave. They're against unemployment benefits. They're against all these government programs that can help these women raise these children. So I don't like to get into the Rachel Wilson stuff because I just think she's an absolutely repulsive human being and a hypocrite and a fake Christian. I will call her that. But in regards to people,
why do you think she's a fake Christian? Not that I'm trying to defend her honor necessarily. Yeah. I just find that an interesting comment.
Her behaviors. Let's start off with, where would I even start with her? First of all, the multiple baby daddies. She tells other women how to live their lives, and yet she has multiple baby daddies. She fornicated with Andrew
but don't you
Wilson.
think sinners testifying on how to live is a part of the faith?
Hold on. Let me just continue, and then you can ask me anything you want. Has fornicated with Andrew Wilson. Then Andrew Wilson leaves her for another woman who lived in Nevada. You can look this up. It's public knowledge. Married a woman in 2010, then goes back to Rachel Wilson. That's number 2. Number 3, she thinks that all women shouldn't vote, yet she votes. She thinks that people shouldn't be allowed to vote if they don't have a job. She thinks that people shouldn't be allowed to vote. What if you're born with an illness? What if you have medical issues and you're on government assistance? She doesn't think that those people should vote. It's a repulsive way of thinking, and she's a hypocrite. And what a horrible ideology to have, to be so obsessed with this feminism stuff, because she's a one-trick pony. That's all she debates is feminism. I have never even discussed feminism in my life, let alone debated it. They paid me to go out there. but yet she doesn't want to talk about the economy. She doesn't want to talk about the lack of wage growth in this country, or the fact that there are so many Americans, women, and plenty of Americans that are struggling. She doesn't want to talk about kitchen table issues. She only wants to talk about this one issue. And the reason why I call her a fake Christian is because you look at the traditional Christian values, she hasn't lived up to those values at all. Now, she claims that in one of her relationships, she was abused. If that did happen to her, I feel bad for her. Where's the evidence that she was abused? Did she file a police report? So she makes these claims. Even if that was true, I wouldn't be judging her right now, my friend, if she wasn't judging everybody else. Do you know, in my debate, I asked her a simple question. What if you're a woman and you're 30 years old and you can't find a man? Then she made the accusation that most of these women, she said this in the debate, have slept with 50 men. So she's slut shaming all women that aren't married by the age of 30. So why shouldn't people do the same thing to her? Why does she let all these men have sex with her unprotected? Why does she have multiple baby daddies? You see, I don't judge others unless they decide to judge. She's a hypocrite.
Well,
to be fair, Saint Fotina, and sorry, Connor, Saint Fotina had 5 prior husbands and was living with a man she wasn't even married to. She was the woman at the well that met Jesus, and she ended up becoming a saint.
And Sarah, that's okay. Sarah, that's okay. I'm not going to judge that unless that person is judging everybody else.
You said
Right.
you don't think she's a Christian because 3 baby daddy thing and whatever.
But the reason why I'm bringing up her life is because she judges all these other women. All these other women past the age of 30 that don't have kids. She's slut shaming all of them. But if you're not going to judge all these other women, and you're not going to tell women, I don't want to tell people how to live their lives, then I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But she is fake. I believe her and Andrew Wilson are despicable human beings. They only have one goal in life. You know what their goal is? To win debates. You think they care about? You think they care about helping women? Do you think Rachel's come up with ways on how to make women's lives easier? Does she help women? No. All they care about is winning debates because they're fucking idiots. That's why they're idiots. And that's all they do. All day long. You know what Rachel does? She goes on Twitter all day long and she tries to goat people into debating her. 8 months ago, in DMs, I know she wants to, Brian DM'd me. I have the DM. She DM'd me and was basically begging me to debate her on feminism. I told her to go fuck herself. Then when the Uncensored America people reached out to me and they offered me a sum of money, and I said, okay, I'll take it for a 3-day vacation. I don't give a shit. That's what she does all day. She goes for low-hanging fruit on the feminism debate. All day long, she tries to goat people into debating her. She doesn't help people. She doesn't help women. That's what Andrew does as well. Sarah, I know you're not much of a fan of Andrew either. You know, I was just hanging out with some pretty prominent people on the right. I think Sarah knows who I'm talking about last week. And they also hate the Wilsons because they know they're phony and they're fake. They're phony, fake people. People could say whatever they want about me. I've been called every name in the book, but there's nothing phony about me. I say what I feel. Andrew and Rachel do this so they can grift and win debates. That's their only objective in life, is to just win debates. They don't even care if what they're saying is true or not. Just win the debate and get a high five and get the Andrew Wilson circle jerk crew. So I know I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I had.
I was about to say you kind of gave me a lot to work with. So I'm trying to think of where
just being honest,
where I should press on.
Just being honest.
Hold on. So actually, I'll bring up Ruth and Boaz and the Moabite woman who saved the Israelites. There's actually plenty of sluts in the Old Testament. But anyways, the point is that the reason why I'm bringing this up though is that you repeated something that I kind of take issue with, which is effectively it's like, well, the only reason why I'm judging them is because they're judging other people, but ultimately I don't want to judge. You live your life the way that you want to live your life. But obviously, in my opinion, there have to be reasonable limits to this. And so, for instance, like the harm, oftentimes when I encounter liberals, they're always asking for like specific exterior harm outside of the participant of a behavior. So if it's people doing heroin or people having early term abortions or people doing this or people doing that. But the truth is that oftentimes these behaviors are going to bleed out into other negative social consequences. So for instance, like I'll just stick with heroin as an example. Do you care if people consume heroin or not? Because they're living their own lives. They're not affecting you. So do you care one way or the other?
I don't want people to harm themselves. Obviously, you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. But if you're asking me, do I want people doing heroin? Of course, the honest answer would be no. I don't want people to harm themselves. And
do you
if
want
they
it
have an
criminalized?
addiction, well, it is. What do you mean? Heroin is illegal.
I'm asking you for a prescription. So you're saying that I don't want to tell people how to live. But what I would say is, like, regardless of the law, I would tell people don't do fucking heroin. And if it wasn't a law, I would be trying to pass a law to do it. So what I'm asking you is if that law didn't exist, would you be promoting a law to make it criminally prohibited?
I would promote anything if I think it could save lives and help people in the long run. But it'd be like if I was debating and I had a cigarette in my mouth and I was telling people how horrible smoking cigarettes are. Don't do it. It's really bad. It'll cause cancer, secondhand smoke. And then during the entire debate, I'm smoking.
Well, that's an appeal to hypocrisy,
still
though.
Correct?
It's still an appeal to hypocrisy. So I could be down by the river right now with a bunch of little kittens in a bag, drowning them. And I could look straight in your eye and say, don't drown kittens in the river. That's bad. Yeah. Right.
You'd still be right.
My prescription is still correct. And you would be appealing to hypocrisy by saying, well, like, but you're doing it. Why should I listen to you?
So here's what I would say to that. And I'm sorry, what was your name, sir?
My name's Connor. My online handle is Counterpoints.
Gotcha. Okay. So Connor, here's my take as a whole, because we're talking about religion, obviously. My biggest problem with religion is people that push their beliefs on others. And I believe that's what the Wilsons do. If you want to be Christian, be Christian. If you want to be Jewish, be Jewish. If you want to be Muslim, be Muslim. Be any religion you want to be. Believe in what you want. Have your faith. It's fine. I just don't want it to affect other people. And my biggest issue with religion is how many people have died in the world because of their beliefs. We could be talking about every religion. People die because of their religion, because others think that they're superior. That's my biggest issue with religion as a whole. And I use the term hypocrisy. There are a lot of people, religious people, that are hypocrites. For example, a lot of people on the right that want the 10 Commandments in our classrooms, but yet they break those same 10 Commandments themselves. People that will preach the Bible, or Jewish people that will preach. It's not one religion. I'm talking about religion as a whole. I don't like hypocrites. I don't like hypocrisy. Yes, I do believe that the Wilsons are major hypocrites.
But if you look at,
and that's what.
Yeah, but if you look at the history of the 20th century, this is one of my frustrations. And also, if you look at like some of the more extreme elements of the left, you will oftentimes see religious impulses attached to secular frameworks. And so, I mean, if you look at like the history of the early 20th century and middle 20th century in reference to like authoritarian communism in China and Russia, these were broadly secular movements, but they were still incredibly fucking murderous. And so what I would be pointing out to you as a counterpoint, if we were having a debate right now, is the fact that, like, yes, like dogma, authoritarianism, certainty, these are all things that can lead to massacre. But the thing that I don't like, because I think that this is a talking point that I don't think bears historical scrutiny, is the fact that this is a uniquely historical phenomena. We can look at recent secular ideologies that have been incredibly murderous.
Sure, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just choose not to be a very religious person, but I'm also not an atheist, right? I'm somewhere in the middle, I guess. I have a faith. But here's what I tell people that are very religious. You don't know if God exists any more than I do. You don't know if heaven or hell exists any more than I do. We won't know until we're dead. The difference between me and a lot of religious people is I don't tell you I'm right. We just don't know. I don't know. I'd like to think.
Yeah, but you can still make like a moral evaluation. So for instance, like, okay, one of this might be a poor example only because you've consistently set out harm against others as your limiting principle. Okay. So I understand that my analogies or my examples might be poor, but just bear with me for a second. So,
okay.
My point though is that let's use like Aztec paganism as an example. You know, they worship the sun and they sacrificed human beings. Well, your limiting principle would be, well, don't sacrifice human beings, but you also wouldn't necessarily make a judgment about whether or not they had a good moral system outside of that because of harm. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you can still make moral judgments besides harm to others, and you should still have the balls to say, no, you're fucking wrong based off of this.
You know what I would respect? You know what I would respect, Connor? If somebody like Rachel or anybody said, you know what? I made mistakes. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. I don't want you to say the mistakes I made. Like a drug addict who's in recovery. Listen, don't do what I did. Don't go down the path I did. At least I would have a little respect. I'll tell you the other people that I really don't respect. The right-wing evangelicals that look up to Donald Trump like he's some sort of god. The guy who says the Bible is his favorite book, who holds it upside down and can't recite one verse in the Bible, the guy who sells the Bible for $60, the guy who's cheated on every woman he's ever been with. And yet I see these right-wing evangelicals having no problem putting all their support behind Donald Trump. Again, I find that extremely hypocritical. You don't have to like the policies put forth by the left, but this is the guy that you support, the guy who sells Bibles, the guy who uses the Bible as a prop, the guy who's never gone to church. I mean, it's just, I use the term hypocrisy a lot. I just want a little bit of consistency with people. That's all. I'm very consistent. I think the only person that hates Donald Trump more than I do is Melania Trump. I'm very consistent on that. And that's not because I have something called Trump derangement syndrome. It's because I'm someone I think that calls it as I see it. And, you know, I just think Trump's a morally repugnant, bankrupt guy. And I don't want people like that running the country.
I'll say I have plenty more to say, but I don't want to suck up the entire airtime. So
it's a good conversation.
I'm going to quickly read through some super chats. Thank you, Connor. And then we'll move into open floor. So you'll all be able to kind of start jumping back in on.
I've got about 45 minutes, Sarah.
Yep. So I'm going to read through these fast. Zombie Girl getting her membership over on Dragon Fist TV. Also gifting out the gift that keeps on giving over on that end. Zippy says, if he isn't trans, he shouldn't be offended. Can't be offended by something you aren't. Quick thought to that, Brian?
So can you read that one more time? I'm sorry.
If he isn't trans, he shouldn't be offended. You can't be offended by something that you aren't.
Yeah. So my whole argument is not about being offended. My whole argument was when you're an elected official or you're in a very powerful position, there should be a higher standard and you shouldn't be using third-grade insults. It's not about, I don't think Talarico was offended. I'm sure if you asked him, he would say it was stupid. And he'd probably be using the same language I'm using, that it's immature and it's beneath that position to talk like that. And I would imagine to some people it is offensive. But that's my biggest issue is not whether Talarico is offended or not. It's that when you're an elected official and you're in a very powerful position, there should be a higher standard and you shouldn't be using 8th grade insults or calling people gay or trans. It's just stupid. It's just, we should be better than that as a society, especially when you're in the White House in a very powerful position. So it's not really about who's offended or not. It's just about, choosing your words a little bit better. And when you're an elected official or you're in a very powerful position, you shouldn't be talking like that. That's my opinion.
Fair enough. Iotin sends love over on Andrew's side, says thanks for being on panel, Andrew. Texas Bully Mom asks, does Opie love her new bunny sibling? My puppy Opie found a bunny burrow and decided to drag one out. I was able to put the bunny back, and that bunny is currently its mama's problem, not mine. So hopefully Opie actually leaves her alone, because she was a very, very young baby bunny. Iotin sending in the Big 10 for Mater Love. Shout out to you. Zippy says, Andrew cooked. Can't wait till Thursday. Yes. If you haven't heard, our darling Andrew will be joining Brian Shapiro over on his show, his radio show this Thursday.
I have Isaiah Martin. I don't know if you guys know who Isaiah is. He's awesome. He's also coming on Thursday. Isaiah made Jubilee fame. His Jubilee performance, I thought, was incredible. African-American, Democrat, Isaiah. I've never had him on my show before, so he's actually coming on at 12:30. And I think that's why I told Andrew 1 o'clock. So unlike a live stream show, I have to be off the air by 2. So that's why I told him it's got to be a time limitation for an hour. But maybe we'll take some phone calls if Andrew wants to do that. Maybe we can do that.
Yeah, and it'll be just the two of you, so it'll be nice. Also, Dixon sending out 5 gifted memberships over on Andrew's side as well. Texas Bully Mom sends the Big 10. Tomatoes on fire tonight. Yes, keep sending your love. Brian loves his APAC checks. You get APAC checks, Brian?
No, I don't. I don't know what he's talking about. I do not. I get checks. They're not from APAC. They're usually from right-wing haters that help my algorithm on YouTube and Facebook and everything else.
Fair enough. Lathorn says that with the Big Ten, Ken Paxton was acquitted. His accusers were paid to smear him. You have people inaccurately calling people on the right like Trump a fascist, yet never read Giovanni Gentile. Any thoughts to that, Brian?
Sorry, I'm just plugging in my laptop here. Well, first of all, Ken Paxton, hold on, give me 1 second here, guys. I'm plugging in my, okay. So Ken Paxton, first of all, if we're going to talk about moral, Ken Paxton, you might want to talk about the Republican Party because they're the ones who outed him. So you might want to ask why the Republican Party outed him. So that'd be number one. Number two, his own ex-wife divorced him because of adultery, which he has not denied. And there's overwhelming evidence of that. As far as the criminal stuff goes, he was indicted, and you could take a look at the evidence that was presented. I guarantee you that if he wasn't a politician, he'd probably be in jail right now. The evidence is overwhelming. And not to mention a man who admitted to molesting a child. He spent 30 days in jail, and then Ken Paxton is the one that got him a deal and got him out in 30 days. So I don't really know what the argument here is when it comes to Ken Paxton. The Republican Party outed him themselves. So the evidence is overwhelming.
Fair enough. Socrates says with the Big Five, Brian regularly calls people mushroom gobblers on his show. Are you just angry at Stephen Miller said it, or are you angry at homophobic slurs?
So when I call somebody a Trump mushroom gobbler, I've called women and men that. So it has nothing to do with their sexuality. It's the dumbest argument I've ever heard. Oh, that's a homo. No, it's not. I call everybody that if I think they deserve it, women and men, and it has nothing to do with their sexuality. What it means is you're performing verbal fellatio on Donald Trump 24/7, and you're not capable of criticizing him for anything. So yeah, it has nothing to do with sexuality. That's kind of weird,
enough.
but.
Iotin, does virtue signaling make the world better? I disagree. I think shaming does great things, though. Dixon with the gifted Dragon Fist membership. P. Fletch grabbing his membership. And Spin already handing out boots. Effigy and Alex were sent to the back. Kraut and Santa are now here. P. Fletch says overdue tomato tax. The forecast for this summer is fiery, but mostly peaceful, at least in the late PM to the wee hours of the AM. Brian, you are no different than Wilson. Just my opinion. Ooh,
I would say how so? First of all, to start, I was in the news business for about 12 years as a reporter, an actual real journalist. I'm not a journalist anymore. I'm a talk show host. I don't go on social media all day trying to get people to debate me. I do a talk show every day, and I talk about the news of the day and the news of the week, something that the Wilsons have never done. They've never had a job in media before. I'm nothing like them. I'm also not a chain-smoking alcoholic dad bod like Andrew Wilson, so we can get into that too. But I also don't make cartoons about middle-aged men either if I don't like them. Apparently, Andrew has a lot of time on his hands. I think he's made 4 or 5 cartoons about me.
Fair enough.
I would ask that person, give me one characteristic. How could I be similar to them?
And send your response with a dono. Spin City is giving himself a protection. He's got $20 to his name. And Andrew Santa is going to hold this boot for later. He mixed it up. P. Fletch says, yes, this is to give Spin City some cover. So Spin's got another $10 as a protection. So you got 30 in the hole there, Spin. And then also Clay, you got another 10 to your name. And Socrates, last one, says, so Brian lied when calling Ken Paxton a criminal then, right?
No, it's not a lie. It's not a lie at all. He's still under indictment, by the way. You might want to take a look at that. But not a lie at all. I stand by everything I said. Unfortunately, when you're a powerful person in very powerful positions, this could go to people on the left or the right. You get sweetheart deals. I believe if Bill Cosby didn't have a lot of money, he'd still be in jail right now. I believe if O.J. Simpson didn't have money, I know he's dead now, but I do believe he would have been convicted of double murder. But you can go back and look at it. He's still under indictment. But these are the types of people that the Republican Party stand by, and it's mesmerizing to me.
All right, we are officially full open floor gauntlet mode. The same rules still apply. Don't be interrupting and talking all crazy over each other. Watch your TOS words. You say them, I boot you automatically. And if you are not already plugged in to the top right, if you want to dual stream, please feel free to go ahead and do so. All right.
Can I make an announcement? Can I make an announcement? So just for people in my own chat, so Hunter Biden has agreed to do my show, which is pretty cool because I think the only person that's interviewed him in the last year is Candace Owens. I'm going to have a lot of challenging questions for him. It's not going to be a puffer type interview, so that's going to be fun. I'm doing Tim Pool's show at his studio, June 12th. So I'll be out there in Virginia doing his show on June 12th, and I expect it'll be 4 against 1, but that's okay. I'm used to it. So, yep.
Good deal. And there's over 600 watching right now between all of the platforms, so please feel free to make the content. Go ahead, Crop, kick us off.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
We are open floor. Go ahead, Crop. Yeah.
How you doing, Sarah? Thanks for having me. How you doing, Brian? How's your day so far?
Hey,
good?
Doing good. Thanks.
What's up, man? Don't mind me. I'm going to be rubbing my head. I kind of got a headache. I just want to see if you're actually consistent like you say you do, so bear with me. You were making fun of Trump's looks. By all means, I don't care if you do. I mean, words are words. To me. But you were saying chalking on makeup and all this other, wearing a girdle, pretty funny. Would you say the same? And anybody cut in here if they actually remember the name? Would you make the same comments of the appearance of that dude that was in charge of the health department before JFK Jr. took over? Whatever the hell his name was.
No, and here's why. Here's why. To my understanding, that person wasn't. I hear music in the background, by the way. I don't know what that is.
Yep.
You guys hear that?
We could have played the GAUNTLET music and gaslit.
Okay, I just wanted to.
But no, it's there.
I wanted to make sure that wasn't just me. Okay.
Are you going crazy?
So Donald Trump is the guy who mocks women on appearance, who literally has nicknames for people he disagrees with. If you're talking about the transgender person, I believe, that used to work in the Biden administration, the reason why I wouldn't do that to that person is because that person isn't behaving the same way that Donald Trump is behaving. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has literally nicknames for people he disagrees with. He also calls on the death of 6 elected officials several months ago. So again, the reason why I mock Donald Trump's appearance is because Donald Trump is the guy who is the president of the United States who mocks everybody that disagrees with him. Again, different standards for different people. If somebody is a horrible human, if somebody's a horrible human being and they're behaving in the way Donald Trump behaves, I don't care if they're a Democrat or a Republican, they deserve to be attacked verbally for the things they say. And that's why I do that for Donald Trump is a bully. He's a bully. So, that's how I feel about that.
So I just got one more question and then a statement in regards to the trans community. You say one of your reasons why you believe Trump is liable for sexual abuse is because he was found guilty in the Silva case by 9 out of 12 members of the jury, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying he's liable. He is liable. He was found liable in a court.
That's one of the reasons why you believe, he did those things.
I didn't even say whether I believe it or not. All I said was he's a liable sexual abuser. You would agree with that, right?
Right. But an example you gave for that statement was because he was found by 9 out of the 12 jurors. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, he was found.
Okay, hold on. I got a follow up to that.
Yeah.
Do you know the Salem witch trials? Now bear with me here. Hopefully this is a good point. Do you know the Salem witch trials?
Fill me in. I'm unfamiliar.
All right. The Salem witch trials, it actually started over land dispute, believe it or not. But they gathered up a whole bunch of people, tried them in court with a jury, and found that they were witches and burned them to the stake. And I think they even may have hung some of them and beheaded them. So, I think that argument is moot just because he was found in the Silva matter of 9 of 12 jurors.
So if the argument, so if the argument that you're bringing to the table is juries don't always get it right, so that's why I think Donald Trump is not a liable sexual abuser, You can have that opinion. I completely disagree with you. Never have I said that in every, I mean, the Central Park Five is a perfect example. Donald Trump, who people voted for on this panel, said that they all deserve the death penalty. He took out a page in the New York Times, never retracted, never apologized. Through DNA evidence, they were found not guilty. Never have I ever said that a jury
Hold on. But no. He didn't say that, bro. I read about that. He said if they were guilty.
Yes, he did.
To
No. Wrong,
okay.
sir.
Well, I'm not going to argue.
Let me just. Okay, you don't have to argue. I'm just going to give you a fact. He took out a page in the New York Times, and you can look that page up. An ad he paid a lot of money for it in the New York Times, calling on them to get the death penalty as a sentence. He since has never apologized for that, and he's never retracted for it.
If they were guilty,
they were convicted, and now, since then, some of them are actually running for office. They were found not guilty, and they were released through DNA evidence, and he never apologized for it. Never, not once.
All right. And I got a quick statement.
Can I just add, Kraut, just quickly, sorry to interrupt you. Just one more thing about what you were just talking about. It's not just that Donald Trump was found liable, okay? If this was a one-off and one woman accused him, okay, I could have a conversation with somebody and say, okay, maybe this person isn't credible, maybe not. There are 30 other women that have come forward, most of these women way before he got into public office, including his ex-wife in court documents in a deposition who claimed that he raped her. So this isn't just a one-off. You also have to look at context and the history. Yes, if somebody lives their entire life with a lot of money and one accuser comes forward, I'm not saying they're not telling the truth, but okay, let's take a look at that. But Donald Trump has a history. Look at all these women that have come forward way before he ran for office. His ex-wife claimed that, and then after he paid her off, she retracted it. So I think there's some credibility with a lot of these women. That's what a lot of credibility.
Well,
do you know the difference between civilly liable and criminally liable? Can you give us the definition?
Is that a serious question? You don't think I know the difference?
Well, I think he wants to make sure, because if you settle out of something, you're not necessarily admitting fault. You're just saying, "Hey,
Donald Trump." So in the liable case, he didn't settle. He was found liable. Yes, there is a lower threshold when you're found civilly liable. So I'm not sure why he's asking me that, but it doesn't change my opinion. Okay,
I'm going to tell you why. The burden of proof to be held criminally liable for a criminal of.
He did.
Are you gonna? I know what he said.
You're repeating what I just said.
The burden of proof is higher. They didn't have enough burden of the proof.
Is there an echo in this?
Are you going to be an asshole? You don't want people to cut you off, but you cut everybody else off.
No,
why don't you practice what you preach?
You've already in the first.
How about shut up? How's that?
In the first 5 minutes of this conversation,
because your retarded ass does exactly what everybody else does.
Here he goes again. In the first 5 minutes of this conversation,
I'm giving you a fact.
All right. Put your dicks away.
I kind of want to say one more thing, Brian, and then I'll let Spin have it. And this is more of a statement. I think now I'm not going to say you, because I think the first time I was ever on these, we were debating that. But a lot of people who are pro-abortion are also pro. Well, I'm not saying you. Like I said a lot of a lot of people who are pro-abortion. Mick, hold on, let me finish, man. Let me land.
I just don't. I know, but I don't like the term pro-abortion. It's not like we're all on trampolines jumping for joy when a woman has an abortion. We believe in the
a lot of people actually do that. But let me land it right quick. This is a statement. This isn't a question. A lot of people who are pro-abortion are also pro-trans, and I find it laughable and extremely hypocritical that the same people that claim to fight for women's rights, for bodily autonomy, to kill your offspring, are the same people who says, yeah, let that man in the bathroom because he claims he's a woman. I find it laughable. Now that's a statement that you can add on to that. That's a statement. That's not a question. That's a cold hard fact. It's extremely fucking hypocritical.
So you're comparing abortion to people going into restrooms? I'm trying to understand.
No. I'm saying it's hypocritical. It's hypocritical.
What's the hypocritical? What's the
I mean, I just explained it, but I can explain
a woman
it again.
having the right to choose. Can you provide me a study that would show transgender women going into restrooms have a higher risk of committing a crime in that bathroom as somebody who's not transgender?
No.
Can you cite me a study that would show that?
This is why this was a statement, not a question. I never said trans woman. That's a definition. I said men claiming to be women that do not transition, going into women's restrooms and putting those women on edge. And they're the same people who claim they fight for women's rights.
Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that?
Well, I think what his point is, right, is if you care so much about women's rights and protecting women's rights and their bodies, right, their bodily autonomy, what he's saying is that the left, the same left talking points that push for women's rights and protections, bodily autonomy, dear Lord, are the same people who also allow the threat thereof of women's bodies to be at risk of a man entering a bathroom, right? Whether it's transgender or not, or people utilizing that stepping point, or even you could go as far as men in women's college sports or athletics and so on and so forth, because now you're not protecting the women. You're actually utilizing the feminist talking points against women and bolstering men through that argument.
85% of Democrats in just about every poll believe that transgender women shouldn't be competing with women on the playing field. I don't know what study you're referring to. I would love to hear a source where you're asking men who go into women's restrooms their thoughts on abortion. But I think these are two completely different things. Two completely different topics. We're talking about women.
What did I say? Trans or men who claim to be women? Spin. Go ahead and tell Brian what I said.
Whether you're trans or whether you're a man going into a woman's restroom, I would like to see a study that would that you could provide me, or a source that men who go into women's restrooms are being asked their thoughts on abortion. I've never seen a study like that before, but what I can tell you is that there's no evidence.
Even Sarah clarified my point, and you missed it completely.
I understand. I disagree with the premise of what you're talking about.
You can't disagree with something that's a fact. It's not.
Two could be.
It's not.
Two could be true.
Subjective.
I don't think it attacks women or their safety if a man goes into a restroom. I really don't.
It's not always about safety. It's about being at ease.
Let me ask you.
Aren't men a higher rate of sexual abusers than women? Can I the stat? That's the stat. Hold on, Clay. Aren't men higher rate of sexual abuser than women?
That's the stat. Anything to reality, Andrew.
No.
Look, I want to know reality. Okay, don't go to stats. Please don't go to stats. I want to ask Brian about reality.
Let me ask you the question. Can I ask the question? I'm answering it.
You two are arguing over who gets to fight Brian.
No, dude, I'm asking him a question.
Go ahead with your stats. Because stats are the fucking stupidest shit ever.
Look, so go ahead and go. And the girl actually got Brian on this already.
Go with stats for the next hour, Andrew.
All right.
Go talk about stats.
Dude, the girl already got.
All right. Let's get the stat and then we'll move to Clay. Go ahead, Andrew.
The girl already got Brian on this very point at Modern Day Debate. I saw it. She came up and asked you the question and you answered it, Brian, and admitted men are the majority of sexual abusers overall in statistics. So men going into girls' bathrooms are more dangerous statistically than just having women in there. That's the stat.
Facts.
And I just want to point one thing out because I probably won't.
I'll respond to that.
I got to say one more thing because I probably won't get to talk again. Go ahead.
If a man wants to attack a woman, sadly, and if a man wants to commit a heinous crime, I can guarantee you what it says on the front of the bathroom is completely irrelevant. If a horrible human being wants to commit better access. If a horrible person wants to commit an assault, they're going to do it, whether it's in a bathroom or anywhere. So it's completely irrelevant to this conversation. And if you guys think that's a more important issue, because this is the thing that I don't understand. We're talking about sexual abuse and sexual assault. You know, there's so many other avenues that we can go to when it comes to this stuff. We could do two things at the same time. I personally believe a woman should have the right to choose. I also personally believe if a man is going into a restroom to assault a woman, then he's probably going to find other places to assault a woman if he's unable to do it in a woman's bathroom. So it doesn't make any sense to me, the point that we're making, you guys are trying to make here.
But were you
If a woman wants to commit-
were you pro-vaccine during COVID?
What does COVID
Were you
have to do with this
pro-vaccine during COVID? You said you support women's right to choose bodily autonomy. I'm asking you a question about consistency in your worldview.
Okay.
Were you pro-vaccine?
I'm gonna guess you're probably an anti-vaxxer, but I'll answer
No,
your
I'm
question
asking if
anyway.
you are pro-vax.
And
I'm not saying anything about my position.
I took a vaccine myself because I'm a diabetic and my immune system is not as strong as the average person. My opinion on the vaccines are very simple. I never thought that they should have been mandated. I think it's a personal decision that everybody should have made with their personal physician that knows their medical history. I don't think anybody should have been mocked for getting vaccinated. People still mock people for getting vaccinated. And guess what? Millions of people died from COVID, and it's horrible. And I wish it didn't happen. So yes, I had a woman that had a big sign up that said, "My body, my choice." My body, my choice when it came to vaccines. And I said, okay, I'll go. Guess what? I'll go with you on that. But when it comes to abortion, it's not your body, your choice. Zero consistency.
Not me, pal.
Okay, so and I just want last thing.
No, come on, dude.
I'm almost done. You're going to move to you, and I won't. I'm not going to talk again. This is the last thing I just want to point out to you, Brian, because earlier in the very beginning, I've been waiting the whole time to say this. In the very beginning, I was trying to explain to you that the trans comments were signaling to his base the policies, and you called me out and you said, "What policies?" And I said, "I don't know." Let me finish the question. And I said, "I don't know." That was the point, is that they were signaling that this person has trans policies.
Yeah.
That they support.
Let me respond to
that.
that.
What do you know? What do you know? Exactly what I said is the point. I looked them up. He notably opposed legislation that required students to play on sports teams matching their sex assigned at birth. He led an effort in Texas House office to include pronouns on staff or business cards. He voted against bans on on gender affirming care for minors. So that was my point. Is they're telling their voters,
I disagree, and I'll tell you why.
Policy.
Yeah.
It's
Guess
not
what,
about,
Andrew? Guess what?
These
Andrew,
are the
guess
policies. Did I guess
Andrew,
right?
Let me respond now.
Did I just guess?
Let me respond. Let me respond. First of all, you Googled it, and an hour ago you had no fucking
Right,
idea.
my
what you were
point
talking
was they
about.
were
That's number
signaling to
one.
me
Hold on,
those were
let
the
me
policies
finish.
so I could look
Let
them
me
up.
finish.
That was the
Let me
point.
finish.
That was the
Let me
point.
finish. Let me
They were
respond.
telling me
That's
those are the
point.
policies so I can investigate. That was
Andrew,
the point.
you gotta let-
Because you're
Andrew,
building a
it's not
straw
gonna go
man
good.
already. So you have to contend with my
Andrew,
point. That's a
you're
straw
building-
man. My
You're
point was
building
it's
an
a
argument
signal.
of why are you going to let me respond, or are you
Yes.
just going to keep yelling?
Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Guess what? If somebody doesn't like somebody's fucking policies, in this case, maybe James Talarico's policies when it comes to trans people, then fucking bring that up and talk about why you don't like the policies. Don't fucking be like an 8-year-old and call somebody trans. The fact that you think that's good messaging and that's a good communication
I didn't
skill.
say
No,
that.
wait, let me finish. Let
Didn't
me
say it was
finish.
good or bad.
Let me
straw
let
man.
me finish.
Right,
You
but
haven't
you're a
said
straw
whether it's
man.
good or bad. That's the whole argument. You haven't
No,
said
the
whether it's
argument
good
is
or
he's
bad.
telling
Let me
his
tell you-
base.
let
No,
me-
the
let
argument
me
is he's
fin-
telling them what the
You gotta
policies
let me
are,
finish.
which he was.
You gotta let me
I looked
finish.
it up. I was
You gotta
right.
you're not let me finish.
Can't
If you
stop
don't
straw
like
manning.
James,
I can't wait till Thursday.
You can't stop straw manning. You don't even understand the
All right,
premise.
you two, put your dicks away for a minute. Let's move on to Santa.
okay.
Santa's had his
hold on,
hand
hold on.
raised. Go
Let
ahead.
me just
Brian, I
quickly.
won't
Well,
say
because
that.
you're the
Yeah,
two of
Brian.
you. Here's what's happening. The two of you are just going to keep
Andrew.
getting more escalation, and
Andrew.
I won't
it's
say
not going to
anything. I want to
resolve.
hear his
No, no, no,
point.
no.
I won't say
It's just
anything.
going blah 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 blah.
And
That's
Sarah,
all I hear
if
from
I
you
could just
two.
get in a point after Santa, and then you
Andrew-
can swap me out. You got a
Andrew-
couple super chats
Andrew-
want to kick me out. Then you
Andrew
can
did
just put me to the back.
interrupt.
But I got a good one here. So
Yeah,
let's
go
go
ahead.
real quick, guys. Okay? And then we'll just
Go ahead,
Just
Santa.
limited. We want to start. Thank you. Now,
Sarah, I'm about to get off.
I agree with you about powerful people not saying stuff. One of them, for example, is the House resolution against Representative Waters, Maxine Waters. Yeah, some people call it a riot. Sounds like a bunch of crazy people and did bad things for no reason. I maintain it was somewhat understandable, not acceptable, so I call it revolution. Maxine Waters, it's the House Resolution 327. Next point. She's going to
What are
get
you
rid of
talking about? What does this have to do with the
I'm
topics
talking
that we've been discussing?
You had a big bone in your ass about people in government and high
I had a
positions.
big bone in my ass? What are you, sir? What are you talking about?
You distract every time you get hit.
You're talking about Maxine Waters. What does that have to do with what we're talking about
today? That has
today?
to do with Stephen Miller talking and him not using the language you like either.
Oh, okay. So what? I'm sorry. So what are you, sir? What the fuck are you talking about? Maxine Waters didn't attack.
You having a double standard and you interrupt everybody. So please be quiet for a minute. Because your boy Biden also said there should be a bullseye on Trump's back. Where was your outrage then?
Yeah, because you don't understand context because you're a Trump mushroom gobbling fucking moron.
I
That's the
never
context.
voted for president, idiot. Make more assumptions.
You've never voted? You've never voted in your life?
No.
That's a waste of time. Then holy shit.
Yeah. He's a waste of my time. Let's move on to somebody else.
Oh yeah,
because
you're gonna lose again.
Okay.
Then on top
All right,
of
Santa
the
Claus.
Wait, but Andrew, you have no
hold on. We're gonna do this.
You have no political stake.
We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Hold on. If you want one-on-ones, you got to send money unless I determine otherwise. Stand by. Hold on. For fuck's sake, can I talk? All right, number one, for the win, I'm going to let you go, and then I'll boot you to the back. Bones obviously already. Bones already came up because Kraut dropped probably Wi-Fi issues, and Texas Bully Mom did pick for the win as well, but that already came through. So her replacement was you, Cassandra. Cassandra, I'm going to put you to the back and bring up the next person after that. All right, for the win, go ahead.
I just want to just quickly say that the guy who never voted, the guy who never voted before has a bone in his ass. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, chaff and redirect, Brian. You have a double standard when.
All right, you're done, Santa Claus. You're done.
Threaten the lives of other people. I'm actually on the left, you idiot.
Yeah. Chris Farley wants his dead body back.
Everything your people do, your people,
my people.
not the left.
All right. Okay,
go ahead. When I was at Standing Rock in that where were you when I was protesting? You were talking with your donkey. Shut up, little boy.
Andrew, get the bone. Get the bone out of your ass, Andrew.
Where's Santa's little helper?
You're so funny.
Santa, stop it. Stop it. All right, for the win, I know you got to get booted to the back. So if you'd like to bring your quick comment up, and then we'll get you out.
Yeah, real quick here. So Brian, you know what you're mad about with the Talarico comment is that office means something. And when you folks were in charge, the comments of MAGA is extremists, they're fascists, they're this, they're that. Last time I checked, nobody went to go and assassinate President Biden, but we've had 5 separate incidents with Trump, and simply put, that the left's violence is a problem. And
okay, let's talk
out
about
of this
that.
comment, I don't see violence occurring. Yeah,
let me just respond to what you just said.
Retard.
Let me just respond to it.
Nice.
Shut up, Bones. I'm trying to hear what For the Win's saying, and so that Brian and him can have a back and forth.
For the Win's got to go backstage anyway, so just let him spit it out real quick.
Let me just respond quickly to what you just said. I don't know who you're referring to who called MAGA supporters fascists, but I can tell you Donald Trump multiple times on the campaign trail called Kamala Harris fascist. I will also tell you the first assassination attempt of Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, luckily wasn't executed, but was attempted by a registered Republican from a MAGA family. The second assassination attempt on the golf course was from a man who once voted for Donald Trump back in 2016. But unlike you, I don't make assertions based on a couple people who try to do some horrible things and take it as the entire party. I've never called Donald Trump a fascist. I do think he's a wannabe dictator, but I've never called him a fascist. Donald Trump, I assume the guy who you voted for, called Kamala Harris a fascist multiple times. Find me a Democrat that threatened to execute 6 elected Republicans. That's what Donald Trump did 4 months ago. He literally threatened death on 6 elected officials for simply saying, don't abide by unlawful orders. So don't give me this.
No, again, Biden said it countless times over the 4 years of calling MAGAs extremists in his speech in Pennsylvania. Absolutely. When it comes from the leader of the free world, like you said, the office means something. You're being a hypocrite completely.
If we want to go tit for tat on assassination,
hold on. I don't know who that other person is talking about. Hold on. Let me just respond to this guy. So if you want to compare the president of the United States calling some of Donald Trump's supporters extremists. By the way, there are extremists on both sides. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
Calling it
hold
out,
on, let me just hold on.
Go on.
Calling a group of people. He never said everybody that supports Donald Trump is an extremist. You're trying to compare Joe Biden saying that there are some extremists out there to Donald Trump threatening to execute 6 elected officials. There is no comparison there. By the way, January 6th doesn't happen if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the 202020 election. There is literally no comparison.
It was stolen.
Donald Trump. Okay, well then
and you're gonna have to deal with another 4 years of
you're
him
not
as well too. So
you're not a serious person.
Has to just shut up.
I told you in the last stream. I watched countless hours of all these people coming forward saying what they witnessed in that election. Look at State Farm Arena. There was a water main.
Yeah, and yet none of those
look at
panned out in court. None of those panned out in court, unfortunately, for them. And I'm so sorry. Again, you can try and litigate this all you want, but unfortunately, the court said that there was no definitive fraud that was able to overturn any elections. So good luck.
Well, wait.
Good luck
finding
Donald Trump also. Donald Trump
cool.
Donald Trump also had 61 opportunities in a court. By the way, to this point, no one's ever proven widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the election. So if you want to believe that the earth is flat and that Donald Trump won the 2020 election, you can go ahead and you can believe that, but you are not a serious person. Next.
Neither are you.
Well, guess what? I'm not here to talk to you, bro. Okay. You're here to talk to me. Okay. Have a nice day.
Okay. I actually, Brian, I gotta say, I was pretty fucking critical of you as a debater, but I gotta say, like, you're pretty fucking ready for this environment. So if you ever bump into a clip where I'm being harsh to you, just bear in mind, like, it's almost magical to see in person.
Shut up.
Counterpoints. Will you shut the fuck up? I'm not talking to you. Shut the fuck up.
I know. We're all here.
I thought for the one is supposed to be gone. They were supposed to leave, buddy.
Stick a bone in your ass and shut the fuck up.
Hannah, do you want to use your credit for the speed date?
Counterpoints.
I got a credit.
Can I talk to the guy? Can I talk to the guy who just addressed me? Will you please shut the fuck up? Thank you. Counterpoints. I appreciate you saying that.
I posted the Maxine Waters thing. No reason for ad hominem attacks and name calling. You aren't here for me, fine, but I am apparently here for you. The second part, you represented that leaders in positions of accountability and high authority and the admin should be held accountable. So what was the context of the political event when Biden said that there should be a target mark on Trump? Oh yeah, see, now we're just.
Are you asking me a question? So how about be quiet and let me respond? So shut the fuck up. I'm waiting for you to shut the fuck up.
I'm ready for you to answer, please. You're childish, man. Come on, answer the question, please.
Then shut the fuck up. Stop talking.
Power game. Please go.
So when it comes to Maxine Waters' statements, I believe she also made the statement of we need to be confrontational.
Yes.
While I don't believe that wasn't a question. While I don't believe that rises to the level of any of the rhetoric that Donald Trump uses on a regular basis. For example, I'd like to rough that guy up and pay his legal bills, which is something that Donald Trump said. While I don't believe that it rises to that level and that Maxine Waters didn't, start an insurrection, I will say this. I don't like some of the language that Maxine Waters has used in the past. Not every Democrat I agree with. In fact, I call them out when they say things that I disagree. But to try to compare the two and say that Maxine Waters has incited anywhere near a type of violence that the president of the United States has, which would be January 6th, and many other incidents that I could, like, for example, the Texas El Paso shooting in Walmart. I'm not a fan of Maxine Waters. I don't defend Maxine Waters.
Well, I was specifically replying to when you were talking about Stephen Miller and that people high in the administration.
I didn't say, sir. Andrew, I didn't say Stephen Miller incited violence. What I did say was...
I didn't say that either.
Okay, well, we're talking about violence, okay? What I am saying is that...
I was talking about her word.
Okay, I don't agree with her words all the time, and I never have, and I've spoken up about that.
Sure.
I've spoken up about that, but I will also say that when you're Stephen Miller and you have a huge, powerful position that he has, and you attack somebody and call somebody trans, it's stupid and it's ridiculous, and I think it's wrong. I I don't think people should be telling other people to gang up in restaurants. I think Maxine Waters had made a statement about if you see MAGA supporters in restaurants, you should gather around them. And I don't agree with that type of language either. But why does it always have to be whataboutism? Why can't we all just say, you know what Stephen Miller did was stupid and he shouldn't have done that?
I didn't say that what Stephen Miller said wasn't stupid. You and I actually agree.
But I know, but what I just
saying the counterpoint, not meaning whatever. Please let me finish too. Okay. I'm saying here are other examples. There are several other examples that I gave that people higher in administrations and those things have done the same thing. And my follow-up question be, are you also holding them accountable?
I disagree. First of all, I disagree. I don't think we've had anybody that has come up with the daily rhetoric and the things that Donald Trump has said and done and does every day. The man literally has nicknames for people that he disagrees with, and he calls for the death of elected officials. So no, I disagree with you. I think this is monumental. Sure. Let me ask you a question, Andrew. Sure. Do you think that January 6th happens if Donald Trump doesn't lie about the election?
Well, one, let's say challenge, because I agree with you. Nothing's been adjudicated that it was needed to be overturned. Okay. I'm annoyingly in the middle. I do believe that his rhetoric helped it, just like stuff with BLM and Maxine Waters and Jeffries and other people.
I think BLM happened.
But the difference is he's president.
Correct, but I do think BLM happened not because of what some Democrats said. BLM happened because Derek Chauvin's knee was on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, and I think I don't condone any of the violence. I don't condone any of the bad stuff that happened. But I do think most of the people at BLM that were protesting were not violent, and I think most of those people wanted equality, and they hated that video. You know, I hated watching that video too. And I think, I don't think Maxine Waters is the reason why anybody assaulted police officers. But I will tell you this, the Democrats don't have a $1.7 billion slush fund for any people who did violent things during those BLM protests. Joe Biden didn't pardon anybody during those BLM protests, as far as I know. Donald Trump not only pardoned 1,500 people, but now they're going to be making people millionaires, some of those people who beat cops. They will not rule it out because they're going to be paying the Enrique Tarrios and people that beat cops. I don't think Maxine Waters would reward anybody for beating a police officer. That's the difference between the Republican and Democrat Party today. A $1.7 billion slush fund to literally reward people who assaulted police officers. It's insane to me. It's insane.
I don't disagree with that either. But
this music is very difficult.
So used to being incensed by hearing anything that's not their drumbeat, that is outside their tribe. That
if anybody incites
to each other,
Andrew, if anybody incites violence on the left, I'll be the first person to call it out and say it's wrong. I've called out anybody who's assaulted ICE officers. I've said, stop following ICE officers. It's not going to help. Don't throw things at ICE officers. Right. It's going to make it worse. I've always told people there are bad cops out there, but that doesn't mean that you should just run away from police or resist arrest. I don't condone any assault on any ICE officers or law enforcement. But guess what? When you're a trained, professional, you also should be de-escalating things. And I think a lot of ICE officers that I saw in Minneapolis weren't doing that.
Absolutely.
And by the way, officially,
those and challenge those things. I'm for people above everything else. And Cassandra, you rocked it tonight.
Andrew, the bone is officially out of my ass, just so you know.
Ooh.
So, Brian, you said earlier. So, Brian, you said earlier.
I have 5 minutes.
Okay, so this will take 1 minute. Okay. You said earlier you don't give a fuck about what anybody calls you, right?
I never said that.
Yes, you did. Yes,
what
you
I did
did.
Say, when I'm talking about libtard and idiot and moron and those types of comments,
really, that's what you are. But
okay,
anyway,
well, I don't.
You
I
said,
don't care what,
and I quote,
I don't care. I don't care what
I'll
your
say,
opinion
you
is
know what,
about,
Brian?
bro.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you in a clip where you said it.
I don't care.
My point
read your
is,
stupid clip.
you
don't have a point, bro.
Of course not. I do have a point, libtard.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah, move on to the next person. I'm not listening to this guy.
You
Angry
said,
American, go fuck yourself. I'm not listening to you.
Of course, because I frustrate you, and that's good. That's why I'm here.
No, it's because you don't frustrate.
I frustrate you because I call you out on your dumb shit. Okay,
you're right, Angry. You're
call
right,
you
Angry.
your
Let's
dumb
get to
shit.
the- let's
Is there
get to the
anybody else?
question.
But he
Yeah,
won't shut up.
Well,
Yeah,
get
Fair,
to
you
the,
I have-
frustrate us all.
I've been
Get to-
trying.
get to the
Angry
question.
American, take your medication.
The question is, you said, and I quote, "I don't care what anybody calls me." So why would you care if somebody called somebody a trans?
Okay, am I going to let me answer?
That makes you a bigot, sir.
Are you going to
That
shut
makes
up?
you a bigot.
Was that a question or was that rhetorical? Was that or are you
That
going to
was,
let me answer?
it was more rhetorical.
It was
Okay,
retarded.
so move on to the next person and go fuck yourself.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I
Chris.
have a question. Thank you. Brian, are you a narcissist?
What kind
I'm
of
sorry,
question
you're
is
asking me
that?
if I'm a narcissist? Let's move
Are
on to
you
the
a
next question.
narcissist?
I've got 4 minutes and then I have a business call, so that's
Oh,
not a
oh, oh,
serious
can-
question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
I need
Kay.
to. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Hi.
Hopefully it's a better question.
Yeah. I'm on the left, so I'm kind of like everything you've been saying tonight has been like just soothing to my ears because there's too many insane people on these panels.
They're not all insane. There's some good people on these panels too.
Yeah, there's just too many insane people. But yeah,
I like Clay. I think Clay's a good guy. I think Counterpoints is a really intelligent guy. I think Effigy.
Hopefully, we can have another fight a different day.
I actually don't think Andrew James. We got off on the wrong foot, but I don't think Andrew James is an unreasonable guy. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I am. There's just a few people here that don't ask very intelligent questions, but those people that I mentioned, I thought have asked some pretty good questions, actually.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
I agree with you. Of course you do.
I don't know much about you, I'm afraid. You host like a radio show, right? Sort of like podcast.
I'm a
type idea.
nobody. Yeah, I'm a nobody. I just
You're
they
getting
just
Hunter
invite me on
Biden. You're not a nobody. Okay.
I do.
Let's be honest.
I do a talk show, and I do a bunch of TV and stuff. But
Right.
I still consider myself a nobody.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
What do you feel you get out of being on this panel and having to
Well, not everything I do.
deal with these
That's
questions?
a good question. Not everything I do, I always have to get something out of.
No,
I think Sarah's a nice person, and she's treated me with respect. And sometimes when people ask me to do podcasts and stuff, I get about 3 to 5 requests a week. I usually don't do any of them because I'm not getting something out of it, and I don't know them personally. But usually I do shows, the TV shows and stuff with extremely large followings. But not every time somebody asks me to do a show do I always say to myself, geez, what am I getting out of that? I think that would be extremely selfish. And sometimes when I do shows, I don't always do shows to make sure that I get something out of it. But I also like having most conversations with people that I disagree with, to be honest with you. I enjoy it, actually. But, there are some shows that I do that I will never do again. I'll never do Jesse Lee Peterson again. I think he's a complete asshole and a troll.
Bro. I know exactly what you're saying, bro. I used to watch him a lot. Me being leaning right, and at some point I realized that the guy was basically kind of like Andre. Just kind of a shield.
I agree. It's funny you say that because some people texted me today and they said he sounded like Jesse. You're not the first person to say that.
It was for it, bro.
So
it's funny. I always thought people were just entertained because it was like a guy 1 point away from being mentally retarded.
I mean, they have a lot of good information. In my opinion, they have good information, but they use it, weaponize it.
I didn't know who Jesse Lee was before I did his show, and that was my mistake. I didn't do a lot of homework. But then when I do shows like Pierce, he's got one of the biggest shows around.
That you got completely destroyed on.
Okay, well, thank you. I greatly value your opinion just as much as my last bathroom visit. But here's the difference between me and you, sir. Sir, here's the difference between me and you. They're inviting me on these shows, and people pay me to debate, and nobody cares or knows who the fuck you are. Just remember that before you go to sleep tonight. Tim Pool is a guy that has a huge following, and I'll always do his show when he asks me. Of course, Of course, they're. That's funny.
I'm not a fan of that, Brian. You know that? I'm not a fan of the whole like my dick's bigger than yours thing, man. That's just so.
My dick's bigger than all y'all's. You shut
very
up.
nouveau riche.
Shit on this panel,
like a
bro.
snob.
when
It's
somebody,
like poor people say.
Yeah, when somebody's just going to make stupid comments about me and say stuff, sometimes unfortunately I go down to their level. It's just the way I am, I guess. I need to grow up. But
That's
good see, Clay, he really doesn't know, and that's fucking perfect. You know, you're the if you were on a panel, if you were on a panel with like-minded people like yourself, you would get along. You would get along. You would not be as stupid as you are with me.
Angry.
Enjoys the combative nature of conversation.
Hold on, I gotta go here in a minute. But
need to fuck and get it over.
Maybe you should. Why go to your business call?
I just want Angry to do one thing for me tonight before he goes to sleep. After he pleasures himself to my poster in his bedroom, take off your Donald Trump knee pads and wipe your mouth. That's all I want.
Oh my!
One more question for you, Brian, before you go.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Angry, you're done. Kay's got you had your time. Go ahead, Kay.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you might, if you look behind me, you might guess as to what this question will be. Who's your favorite Transformers character?
I really don't have one. I never got into Transformers. I think I got Angry very upset. I think Angry just left. And
question.
Yeah, that's smarter than anything you've said the entire show, asshole. I grew up liking Superman. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I loved Reeves and Superman.
That's not weird at all.
There it is, Brian. Yes.
Not Dean Cain. Not the Dean Cain Superman. By the way, I've gotten into it with him on social media.
Ben Affleck Superman?
Yeah, that's fair. I like Ben Affleck.
Which one's your favorite Superman?
Well, listen, I met Chris Reeves and his wife, his dear wife, at a New York Rangers game when I was 21 years old, and I'll never forget it. I was so intimidated. I was so scared. I mean, obviously he was in his wheelchair. His wife was so beautiful. And I almost crapped my pants. I was so scared because that was one of the first big celebrities that I met. And it was just such an honor just to meet him. He was a huge hockey fan. He went to a lot of Rangers games, and I love those Superman movies, man. Nobody ever will be Chris Reeves. I don't know if you guys ever saw the documentary on Chris Reeves. It came out a couple of years ago. It was so good. It was a tearjerker. But anyway, to answer your question, I'm sorry. I do have a few Donald Trump figures behind me, though. I know Kay, you're going to be very disappointed.
Uh-oh.
I have a couple action figures here. Okay.
I get the most action.
Yeah.
It's me, Donald Trump.
I love how Donald Trump lives free rent in your mind, dude.
It's
he's the president of the. He's the president of the United States, dumbass. I'm a news talk show host. It's my job to cover the president, you fucking moron. Anyway, this is Lumberg.
It's your job.
Spin City News, you should know about this, considering you know Spin City News your name. You know,
give me a minute.
I have a little bit of an own goal.
By the way, I don't know if you could pull.
Sarah, who's in the back?
That's a John McCain letter.
We got Alex for the win, Santa, Toasty, and Paul Stankus.
All right. And every time you boot me, this Atlanta salad gets more delicious, by the way.
Oh. So we're booting Bones and bringing up who?
For the win.
Okay. Oh, wait.
I got 5 minutes. I got everybody.
Sarah, if you want to bring up Toasty, I think Toasty's got a question for Brian. If I could do that,
yeah, go ahead.
Before Brian leaves.
Go ahead.
Sure.
That's fine. Yep. Whatever you want to do, Sarah.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Toasty. Toasty, today's not the day to have a lag.
Well, Toasty's lagging. I did want to get back to something. Here we go. Here he is.
Hey, what's up?
Hey. All right. Can I ask the panel to be quiet, please?
Go ahead, Toasty. Hurry.
Well, it's kind of hard to want to go ahead when everybody's talking.
Just do it, Toasty.
He's lagging really bad.
Mm-hmm. God damn it, Toasty.
Must be on his Obama phone.
All right.
All right.
I got a question for you. So I have a shirt here, right here, that says feed me to the lesbians. Is that offensive?
You have a shirt that says "Feed me to the lesbians." Is that offensive?
Yeah, I got a T-shirt that says "Feed me."
I'm not offended by that. You're also not in the White House working for Donald Trump and an elected official. Haven't I already been through this like for the last 2 hours? You're a guy on a podcast show that's not an elected official. If you have a shirt that some people might find offensive, it's not the same as somebody who's Stephen Miller, who's in the White House. There are higher.
It's not an elected official. Spencer's had,
like, for example, if Stephen Miller walked into the White House today and he wore that same shirt that you were wearing, I would say that that would be inappropriate because of his stature, his job, and where he's at. You're just a dude on a show, so I think it's very different. Do you understand the difference?
What about if somebody in the Obama administration would have
Angry, we're not talking to
you. Actually, here, let me hold on. Let me jump in because I think there might be some degree of expectation we would have for our elected representatives, but I also hold on. But I also think that it's fair to say I appreciate the fact that they are front facing and transparent to us with anything that they think. Right? I would much rather them call somebody the F slur or whatever to publicly than to be saying it behind the scenes and then present as if there's some blessed Christian being an all nice.
I disagree with you. I think what Kanye West did with his anti-Semitism and his hateful rhetoric and praising Adolf Hitler, I think it caused a lot of anti-Semitism in this country. I think if people are that hateful, I would rather them be silent about it than to go public on it, and then other people will be copycatters. So, but again, if somebody in the White House walks in there and wears a shirt that this gentleman is wearing, it's very different than somebody like him doing that. So I think, again, higher standards, different standards for certain people. For
instance, like this Epstein stuff, right? Wouldn't you rather be on the forefront or front facing, I should say, for somebody with their belief system or something that's as immoral as that? I would much rather them be in the public because, like I said earlier, when I brought up the shaming concept and how shaming is good. So, for instance, Stephen Miller saying this or Trump saying that or any elected official saying whatever, with that can come potentially shame if the society as a whole deems that as immoral or improper behavior. And then the shame would be what would shut that type of behavior down.
Sarah, maybe 10 years ago, I would agree with you. But, they elected the guy who talked about grabbing women by the pussy. Forgive my French. So I think we're living in times now.
being grabbed by the pussy.
Well,
with consent, Sarah. Obviously.
I think in these times,
shame doesn't work unless you have leaders who are exhibiting moral behavior from which people want to follow. Right.
And who's doing that?
I agree.
And who's doing that?
Yeah,
no one anymore.
They're all shitty. It's like what's that?
I don't think they all are.
What's that?
I don't think they all are.
What's that phrase
who's
where
not?
it's like I wish all of our
shitty.
politicians wore their sponsors on their jackets like race car drivers so that at least we knew exactly what kind of assholes were sponsoring them.
Yes. I don't think they're all shitty. I would imagine there are people on this panel that dislike Barack Obama. But I can tell you, Barack Obama ain't in the Epstein files. He's never had some scandal where he cheated on his wife or was accused of raping anybody. I do think that there are Bernie Sanders types. There are people that have lived good, decent lives. The guy right behind me here, John McCain. Okay. I didn't agree with him on everything, but he was a hero. And I think he was a decent man who lived an honorable life. Mitt Romney, didn't always agree with him. I think Mitt Romney's a decent human being. And I
by
think
your standards.
Okay.
By your standards.
Okay. Again, I don't know what your standards are. Okay. But
exactly.
Yeah. Guys, I gotta go.
Hold on. Yeah. Sorry.
Brian's got a hot date. He's got to go.
No. It's a business call, actually, believe it or not. But thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody.
Out for fucking booty call. That's what's going on here.
Go ahead, Brian.
I look forward to the next one, Brian.
Definitely not that, but I promise you guys next time I'll try to have a little bit more time. But I have a little bit of work I got to attend to. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thanks, Sarah. And you guys
bye, Brian.
Have a good night, okay? Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Let's see who was next in line.
I figured out what was going
There we
on with
go.
me. I had the main channel volume up, so I could not hear anything.
Don't drag me down.
Toasty. All right. I do believe, I will say For the Win, Santa gave up his seat for the Win to come up. So Toasty, I'm going to put you back and bring For the Win up since that was the what was requested. All right, back to business. I know we've got some lefties on here. We've got Kay, we've got Alex, we've got Effigy, and we've got some independents.
We got counterpoints.
We've got Connor, we've got conservative, we got right-leaning, we've got left-leaning, we got conspiracy, we've got just a little bit of everyone up here. So we will continue forward.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah, how many ladies do you have in your audience typically? What percentage of ladies do you have in the audience?
We've got quite a bit. We've got Texas Bully Mom. We've got Iotin. I know I saw School of Thought, THOT in there. We've got my mom. My mom's in there. We've got everybody say hi, Mom. Let's see. There's someone named
Tomatoes in the chat. Tomatoes in the chat. Mama Tomato.
Okay. Actually, let's do this. If you are a lady in the chat, please send tomatoes into the chat so you can stand up. Pepper's raising her hand. Send a mater and we'll do a ladies call shout out. But yeah, I think we're probably like 10% female audience. We're moving.
All right. While the ladies are putting their tomatoes into the chat, this is your PSA, which you may not have known about. Ladies, how many times have you gone into the ladies' room and found the toilet seat is wet and or in the upright position? And would you like to know? Would you like to know why that is, ladies?
Yeah.
Because there are trans women who hate biological women and intentionally go into the bathrooms and urinate upon the seats. I just wanted to drop that fact. No, that's because I am a transsexual who lived as a woman, and I knew autogynephiles in the community who admittedly went into the bathrooms to pee on the seats because they hate women.
It's amazing.
That's the worst. All right. If you were watching over on Brian's side, I do need to shut down his show for safety purposes, especially with this group. So if you're watching over on Brian's side and you'd like to continue hanging out with us, we'd love to have you in our audience. We'd love for you to come hang out. We are over at the Raging Tomato, so feel free to make your way over right now. And otherwise, I'm going to shut you down on that side. We love you. We'll see you on the other side.
Sarah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Where's Ryan?
Ryan is out living his real life.
Oh, that's good for him.
Is this the real
That is
life?
PP touched, and now he's not a liberal anymore.
Yeah, he's got a girlfriend. He met a girl, and we never saw him after that.
I don't blame him.
And backstage, I do have Santa, Bones, Toasty, and Paul Stankiewicz.
Effigy for Toasty.
Effigy for Toasty. Oh, you got your credits. Okay. All right. And also, this one came in earlier. Obviously, Bones is still backstage. Also, True Game says, Brian Shapiro, you are just a tool and don't want to talk about fighting anyone, little girl. Nobody with stature speaks the way you do. Man, shots fired. You guys really love to hate him. P. Fletch says Kamala Harris, etc., are on record stumping for bailout funds for Antifa/BLM back in 2020. Thanks for proving my opinion correct about you, Brian. Any thoughts to that from the panel?
As far as I'm aware, those bailout funds weren't for anyone in particular. They were just bailout funds.
Now, I recall, as being a resident of Minneapolis, that was a topic of contention, especially during that whole biological issue of like when you could protest and it was fine, but any other time that you congealed with other people, it was a super spreader event. And so this little portion right here with Kamala Harris and these other celebrities going and bailing people out from the clink was a bit of a sore spot with quite a number of us in the Twin Cities.
Y'all can lose me on that shit because look at all the fucking pardons that Donald Trump actually had as he came back in office. He literally pardoned people that committed massive fraud. And the thing is now well, I know you don't care. That's because you're not consistent. Why should I? Yeah, that's the point. Because the thing is, a lot of these people, especially people that were J6ers, some of these people are actually confirmed pedophiles. Like the guy even said he was going to buy the silence of his victim with the money that he was going to be getting. So fucking lose me with that shit. Yeah.
Remember when Biden pardoned the kids for cash judges?
Yeah, and I don't like that either. I don't fucking like it either. I was actually very critical of Joe Biden doing that. That was one of the biggest pardons that I think he never should have fucking done. Like Judge Chivarella is a fucking monster.
But,
he was a fucking
what
monster.
your skewed ideology here is he was only pardoning the J6ers for the J6 event, not their complete entire record, dumbass.
And they're still fucking bad people, jackass. I know you fucking support them.
You know what? Shut the fuck up.
No, you don't
listen to what you're saying.
You don't tell me what to do, Gad.
Listen to what you're saying, you
tell me what to fucking do.
Connor,
listen to what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, shut the fuck up, asshole.
Shut up.
Yeah, I got your asshole.
Sit down,
Trust
children.
me.
What are you going to do about it, huh? What the fuck are you going to do about it?
Connor.
Fucking shut up, you asshole. Yeah,
okay.
Hold on, Spin. Weren't you yelling at someone earlier and said, when the host is talking, you shut your fucking mouth?
I'm sorry.
And now here I'm talking and you're talking over me. I love you. All right, Connor, give me a claim. We need to bring you back in before you get like tired or something.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I need something specific to fight over, or I need to go to bed. I need some, Clay called me gay earlier. We could argue about that.
I called you gay. No, hold on now. I didn't call you. Yeah, it's me and Connor now. No, I didn't call you gay. I said you're a pussy and a bitch for booting me out of your chat because I don't even know what it was.
So
your mod.
Oh, sorry, what's your handle? Just to see if I remember what you said.
Brick petitions. I carry two flags. One on one side.
I do not remember this. So what were we talking about on the day that you got kicked?
Man, I don't remember. I know that your mods got mad at me.
What was it? Was it within the past week?
No, it was like 3-4 months ago.
Okay,
probably.
Hold the fuck on! You're mad about something that happened 3 or 4 fucking months ago, Clay.
I can't be in his chat.
Wow! Couldn't you?
I mean,
look,
if I wasn't in your chat because of your mods shit on me and then booted me for nothing. I don't remember what it was, but it was just we disagreed on something, and then all of a sudden your mods got like crazy on me, and I'm like,
well, okay,
we just disagree.
I'll put it to you this way: Did you say what did you say your politics were? More like conservatarian, like you're center, but you lean right.
I'm center and I lean right. Correct.
Okay. Well, I would say at this point, because of my public falling out with the DGG community. Destiny's community.
Oh, Destiny.
So 70% of my audience, we've polled it multiple times. 70% of my audience are liberals who view me as like the good conservatarian or whatever. Okay. Whereas I think we actually need some conservatarians. So yeah, just fucking let me write it down and see. I'll tell my head mod to fucking unban you.
Right,
so what was the handle again?
Fucking gay.
Now you are gay.
See? I knew somebody called me gay. I just didn't know it was Sarah.
This could have been solved in an email, Clay. For fuck's sake.
Yeah, Clay. What's the handle, Clay?
There. I put it in Sarah's chat. Brick petitions 101.
True Game says that's what. Yeah. Put it in the back chat. True Game says that's what poor people say. Way to be a Democrat to the core. Fucking sellout. And
I don't think that was a Democrat who said that.
Kraut says, didn't Biden pardon his son? Again, Brian's point is moot. Also, men enjoy a power trip just by invading women's spaces. It's not just about SA. Listen to women who don't want men in their space. I don't want men in my space. Get out of my space, all of you.
Yeah, I mean to get out of here.
I just wish that these people would listen to women when they say that they want autonomy over their bodies as well.
Yeah. Okay. Can I fight that? I suppose.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh,
Connor.
your God.
Yeah, so obviously, like, I don't like abortion. I think it's like a moral failing or whatever. I also think that there should be like a reasonable centrist fucking split, but that should be along personhood. But when you're talking about like women asserting autonomy over their body at all times, if you go into the stall and you piss and shit in the stall and then you dip out, nobody fucked with your autonomy. Right. The reason why, like, you guys are bringing this up, and I think, like, so men are more dangerous than women. That on average is true. But if everybody minds their own fucking business and goes and pisses and shits in their stalls, washes their hands and leaves, then no one's autonomy was violated. So that's where this argument just did not hit for me, whoever was making that argument.
Yeah, but they're also being disingenuous by having to jump a statistic over the statistic for men being the most violent in this case, especially if you hone down to who actually commits assaults in bathrooms. It's same sex on same sex usually. So they're having to jump the statistic of men committing assaults onto trans women who do not have that same statistical level that just men in general
to be clear, there was a stat that was out there like a few years ago that was saying like 4% of the population was trans. That was never fucking true. Literally 90% of the people who were within that stat or whatever, they were either like non-binary women. You know, and basically that's just a woman with a fucking septum piercing. That's not a trans person.
They've definitely tried. Yeah, I agree with that. They tried to extend it to a category.
When you're actually talking about male to female or female to male or man to woman or woman to man, however you want to define it or whatever, trans folk, it's still less than 1%. So the fact that we could even obtain stats on this is dubious.
Okay, so you would agree that non-binary doesn't mean anything, correct?
I think non-binary. That I'm a little bit anti non-binary, where I do have one non-binary friend that I respect or whatever, but for the most part, I think it's mostly women who want attention.
Yes, and you would agree that it is a mental health condition, so to speak.
Yes, no, I don't know where you're going, but yes.
Okay, so my friend Cassandra up there is a complete transsexual. Let me ask you something, Cassandra. Do you consider yourself a man or a woman?
I am a man.
That transitioned to a woman.
To a feminine expression.
Or to a feminine expression.
Surgically, chemically, hormonally, through endocrine, all that, yes.
Okay. You would not consider yourself non-binary, correct? Because you represent both sexes biologically, or excuse me, not biologically, but biologically you're a man, but you transitioned your outside appearance to a female.
Correct. And then I will say this though. There was that period where I was denied all access to hormone therapy for a year and a half. And that put me in a non-binary situation against my will, because I didn't have the chemistry to have a female or male situation at that time. Imagine having no hormones. That's what I'm trying to say to everyone on the panel and in the audience. Imagine not having any of that chemistry.
Sure, but
this goes even way
where are we going with
than
this?
The term,
because effectively,
right.
I thought the argumentation was that like women were giving up their autonomy by allowing non-binary or trans women into their bathrooms or whatever, or being forced by the state in order to allow them.
The concept of protection of to be pro-lifer is you're protecting life, right? For the child and so on and so forth. In the event of doing, and I think this was his argument, in the event of allowing men access to the female restrooms, you are now putting women at risk because men are stronger, men are more capable of doing X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. And women go into the ladies' restroom assuming it's just only going to be women. So their vulnerabilities shoot up while they're whether they know or don't know. Yeah, you're more
is there an
vulnerable.
armed guard at the entrance of every restroom that I've been missing?
Yes. Well, hold on. The counter argument,
because when we're talking about schools, Okay,
this
is why.
Hold on, Clay. Hold on.
Okay.
Connor
No,
was
well,
responding
actually,
to
no.
me.
Clay started first. I interrupted him. So
Okay.
sorry. Clay.
This is why we separate elementary from middle school from high school, right? High school from college, right? Adults do not go in the same bathrooms as children, just like women do not go in the same bathrooms as men. Just like if you have you need to go change your children's diapers, you go to the family bathroom. A lot of places have what's called the family bathroom. You go to that place, right? These bathrooms are set for a purpose, right? Now, if we go saying that everybody can use everybody's bathroom, and then at that point, we are creating a dangerous situation, because those bathrooms are set for certain biological.
What about passoids though? So for instance, like what about Blair White? Should Blair White use the men's bathroom?
Or that trans man who looks like straight up like a dude, like with muscles and a beard. Yeah.
I mean, she has a penis. She might be stronger than the average woman. She might not be stronger than all women, but she'd be stronger than the average woman. So should Blair White use the men's bathroom? So hold on. What I'm getting at,
if that dude went into a
I can
women's
articulate this really
bathroom,
quickly because I don't necessarily want to cycle
mind.
around this shit real quick. So the point is that if somebody assaults somebody, sexually assaults somebody, batters someone, whatever, we can still incarcerate that person. We can still, have the cops beat the shit out of him and drag him to jail or prison. That's still true. And then also when it comes to toilets, I think what we're really trying to do is the least amount of fuss possible. And I think the least amount of fuss possible is actually something Clay just mentioned. We should have family bathrooms or disabled access bathrooms that are third spaces that people who are gender non-conforming can use so they don't freak anybody out. I think that's probably the solution. So if I was to try to fix the problem, I would literally pass new legislation saying men's bathroom, women's bathroom, fucking disabled access bathroom, and basically pick the one where you think you're going to start the least amount of fist fights.
I would say I agree with that. Yeah, I would agree that there should be a one in the middle, right? Whether it be a family restroom or disabled restroom, or I don't belong in either one, and I'm going to use this one to avoid problems. Bathroom.
Well, and I think the disabled access, Angry American kind of stated disabled access ? Yeah. So what it is they build a bathroom between the two. And then they make it so somebody who's in a wheelchair can wheel themselves into the bathroom and get access to the toilet. So basically it's a single toilet lockable room that is usable by disabled people, family people. So you could add in a changing table where that's appropriate. And then obviously a trans person, if they felt like they were going to cause a disruption in the women's bathroom or the men's bathroom, they could just use that one instead and nobody would give a shit.
Okay, so there is a trans person on this panel. We all know who it is. Does he look like a man or a woman?
Cassandra?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cassandra looks like a man, but I think Cassandra even said that they haven't been on hormone replacement therapy in reference to being a woman for a long time.
Cassandra, do you want to say anything to that?
I had to work on looking like a man again. It's part of a detrans process. And on a note of detrans, for anyone who's out there who wants an education on this, whether you want it or not, I'm going to give it. Detrans doesn't happen for people who've been through the process. There's nothing to detrans back to. You're stuck. So on the note of kids, and I know that we're not talking about kids right now, but I just want to throw this out there. If you do this to a young one, that young one cannot come back from this ever.
Sure, but we also all know. I thought where Angry American is going, Angry American could tell us where we're going, is that effectively we can all tell. Well, sorry, Blair White looks like a chick.
Yeah, Blair White is very possible. Yeah.
I have
lots
a friend
of money.
Named
Lots of money.
I have a friend named Toftaj. People jump into my chat and they're like, "Oh, I'm super straight. I would never date a trans girl." Then I have Toftaj onto the fucking stream and they're like, I don't know. Maybe I could be down with a hot chick with a penis. Like I swear to God, she's actually just that pretty. But the point is that you can't always tell. And so Toftaj, despite having maybe she has a penis. I don't know if she did gender reassignment surgery or bottom surgery. Blair White definitely still has a penis. Blair White would cause less disruption going into the women's bathroom than she would going into the men's.
Well, let me jump in on that. So I don't think it's necessarily the passing ones that seem to be the perceived threat. I think it's the people that want to use take an advantage of that very factor and say, well, I identify as, even though they're clearly not. And
we've all seen that Disney trans gal who fucking,
you're talking about people who aren't actually trans.
She doesn't change her voice. She's barely on any kind of hormones whatsoever. She's barely done any surgeries, and she seems to go out of her way to be offended by being misgendered, despite not taking her transition seriously. Yeah, in my opinion, that person should fucking go to the disabled access non-binary family bathroom.
Right,
because,
and I believe
because clearly they're trespassing on the space in order to get a rise out of people because they're assholes.
Right, and I believe they were caught filming in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like obviously not in the stalls, but in the bathroom, and they were filming and stuff like that. And
they took a picture of themselves while in the bathroom being like, oh, it's so affirming to be able to go to a female bathroom without, being checked.
And here's the thing,
that
though,
person's clearly fucked up, but they should
no
be
one
like,
on the left especially ever says that just because you're a trans person or anything other kind of identity doesn't mean you can't be a complete asshole or dipshit. Right.
Well, right, but lefties are typically
but taking the
reflexively
identity
defensive of
and
minorities.
painting
So
it
when a
across.
minority acts poorly, it's presumed that you're going to defend them. I'm not saying you will. I'm just saying it's presumed.
Sure.
I think the problem is that the terminology of what is trans has been made so loose, and
that's
too
the
many
non-binary people doing that.
Well, it might be. It might be.
Well, there's gender abolitionists who think that we should eliminate the entire conception, and I think they're very silly.
And that's where we get into queer Marxism. Oh,
right.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. They view sex and gender as unjust hierarchies that should be abolished.
It causes inequities and oppression because it sets up power systems and power dynamics.
It's not my testosterone that made me 6'4" and fucking grow a beard and all that bullshit. It's fucking, it's power imbalance. Yeah. But most of those people, number one, they were already insane to begin with. Number two, I feel like they were entertained on the internet from maybe 2019 to 2022. And then as fucked up as Twitter is right now, Elon Musk buying it blew the fucking Overton window wide open and had a huge rightward shift on national discourse. So I'm not worried about like gender abolitionists passing policy in the United States of America anytime soon.
Well, you say that. How close are we to having it become a crime to misgender someone?
Once again, I feel like there was like a wave of hysteria in 2019 to 2022 where, for example, in New York, they had like gender discrimination as something that like you couldn't do in reference to housing policy. And they were like trying to compel that through some kind of speech shit. But I almost guarantee you that would have fucking fallen by the wayside with any First Amendment constitutional challenge.
Yeah, you'll see that in Canada before you see it here.
You'll see it in the Commonwealth in Europe. Commonwealth in Europe will 100% do shit like this. America, I think the First Amendment actually prevents it from happening.
Is it still being entertained to the degree where it could eventually affect policy and law?
What I expect, no bullshit, that's actually an interesting question. I expect that there's going to be a rightward pendulum swing that correlates with the Trump administration as it presently exists, but we're probably 5 to 7 years away from our next woke pendulum swing back. So we probably got like 3 to 5 years before we have to worry about that.
Again?
Yeah,
I just want to say
it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I don't want to do it again.
I just want to say out to Brian. Brian, if you're still out there listening, I don't have a low IQ. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
All right. We are maneuvering over to
Spicy.
the gauntlet. If you are watching over on the Raging Tomato on YouTube side, we're going to shut that one down. It should automatically raid you. Otherwise, I've dropped the link into the horizontal format chat. So hang tight. We're going to shift you over. If you're watching on Kick, Twitch, Twitter, Insta, whatever, you have to come over to YouTube at the Gauntlet Debate, and we'll see you over there. Thank you so much. All right. All right, back to you guys.
Welcome. Well, anyways, the point is though, like for instance, like we're arguing about trans people, and I have no problems arguing about trans people. I think that the fucking left-wing progressive queer folk tried to yank the Overton window too far left. However, you know, like the reason why I don't want to be a liberal heel anymore or a conservatarian heel anymore, but didn't we just like, I don't know, shut down 20% of the world's oil supply? Didn't we just do $300 billion worth of damage to like an enemy? Aren't we like paying them a restitution fund or not paying them a restitution fund? You know, aren't there like Gulf countries who are, you know, preparing for war, like effectively World War III in the Middle East and North Africa right now? Or isn't your chicken and oil and fucking all that bullshit jumping up by 30 or 40%? Like, listen, I love talking shit.
Earlier, they use this shit. They always bring up the trans shit. They're obsessed with it because it's the only thing that can rile up their fucking Jimmy enough so that they can ignore shit like the Iran.
Listen,
and
I
all this
love
other
talking shit about minorities, but don't we have like bigger things to worry about right now?
No, wait a minute, F&G. No, come on, let's be fair.
There was just a really big study that came out that showed where all the searches for she-males and trans people in porn are coming from. And I just want to say...
It might be.
It was the South.
The right-wingers,
Okay.
yes, it was. The right-wingers
might
hide
be.
a big secret. A big
Okay,
secret.
It might be, and yet with tonight's what is this that we're even doing here? What is this called?
Well, apparently discovering wedge politics. We've all just suddenly heard about it today.
No,
I've never heard of those.
Point. That's not my point necessarily. It's just that like obviously like culture war issues are fun to fight about because they're relatively low stakes or whatever, but at the same time, like, you know, politics is supposed to be who wields power and how. And I feel like power is being wielded very stupidly right now.
Well, okay, I'm gonna present this. What if the whole point of the people who wield the power is to get people into a sense of so much static and friction with each other in order to bring us all down as a society because we become practically unmanageable, so they just want us to go at each other's throats to make a more manageable situation. And this is
that's what Ben just said. He just said wedge politics. So what he's saying is national discourse is driven to have people split into a combative rhetorical binary so people don't focus on big shit so we can get robbed blind in the fucking background. And that's descriptively true. But
it's all
the reason why I don't like it is because as soon as you point it out, it's like, okay, so what do we do about that? And then we fight about whether or not it's a thing for 30 seconds, and then we go back to fighting about trans people.
Why would we want to fight about what's obvious? I mean, you just stated what's the obvious thing. I would imagine a lot of people would agree.
But so for instance, like let's solve the Iran conflict real quick. War bad, oil price need go down. We just solved it. You know, like so nobody disagrees with that, so there's no contention, which is another reason why we go back to culture war issues.
I would go even farther. I would say that you know, we could go back to if we took a time machine. If we had the JCPOA again, I think that would have been a really good way to solve our issues. Wonder whose idea was to get rid of that.
Yeah, but
if we end up with a deal that's exactly the same as that, if we end up right back around after coming this far around, I'll have to put my head through a wall because the irony will be so thick that I couldn't breathe. Like it's
but so for instance, like what has changed in the past 10 or 20 years though, obviously like the JCPOA got nuked because Israel and the Gulf states didn't want to give Iran enough maneuvering room in order to become like a regional hegemon. And so what has happened in the past year is we basically took them down a peg by blowing all their shit up. So now if we renegotiated JCPOA, the difference between 10 years ago and now is we basically prevented Iran from becoming a regional hegemon.
Well, we were already doing that with the JCPOA prior. And Iran only started enriching their nuclear resources again once Trump took us out of the JCPOA and made it effectively unenforceable.
And now we've given them a cash cow that is the straight, and they're going to get a whole bunch of new weapons because they've solidified alliances with other people. Like I don't see them as in that we blew up a bunch of their shit, we killed a bunch of people, but do we really think they're in a worse position right now?
So
we're still closer to invading them, right?
Yeah. No. So this is like this is one of the things that I get frustrated with when we start talking about this shit. It's like, you can't tell me you're winning. So imagine like the top tier of Congress got wiped out. The president of the United States was killed. The vice president was killed. The speaker of the House was killed. 80% of the military was fucking wiped out. And you're like, I think they're in a stronger position than they were before. Like, no, that's not how reality works. Like,
I mean,
now, are they still capable of projecting power into the Strait of Hormuz? Absolutely. Are they better off than they were 1 year ago? Absolutely fucking not, by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, the thing is, I don't think they really have to be in a better place, because I think they're going to try to draw this thing out as much as possible. Because, like, the end goal is, like, the worst case scenario for the United States is if we did a ground invasion. Why? Because the mountainous terrain in Iran is absolutely treacherous. It's worse than Afghanistan, actually. So honestly, all Iran has to do is just wait us out. Like, thousands of people in their country could die, and they will fucking wait it out. Why? Because they know the American public, it knows that this is very unpopular. Because during 2024, they said if we vote for Kamala, we're going to go right to war. Well, I voted for Kamala, and we still went to war anyway. And the fact of the matter is, we all know we have a history with war. When wars get drug out for long periods of times, they become more increasingly unpopular with the American people. That's what they're counting on.
Nobody wants
watching this. Yeah.
No Republican, because I think disproportionately, maybe this is a stereotype, but I think we could probably agree that most enlisted folk in the military tend to be, more conservative, I suppose is the nicest way to put it.
More traditional.
So the conservatives are tired of fighting the wars, and the progressives and liberals are tired of sending people to the wars. So nobody's interested in this shit.
Well,
I think the chances of an Iran on the ground invasion are very, 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 very low.
The thing is,
I think it's infinitely
the Republicans.
Well, I was going to say it's infinitely more likely that Trump declares victory and walks away while being in a worse position than when the war started.
Well,
that's like 99% more likely.
Well, the problem is Republicans are never going to challenge Donald Trump, because they know that if they do, they're going to get fucking primaried, because he doesn't want people to challenge him. He wants people to just love him and adore him. That's all he gives a shit about. That's why, and this whole concept of like us going into war, there was no plan, honestly, because it says, oh, we had to destroy the nuclear capabilities. But I thought we did that last year. Now we're going back.
Well, number one, obviously that was horseshit. Number two, I swear to God, I'll share my conspiracy brain. I swear to God, like 70% of the motivation for this fucking conflict was sweeping the Epstein files. I swear to God.
Chad says with a big 5, stats on males arrested for being in the bathroom versus trans. Males exponentially have more. The misplaced outrage is just laughable. I think it's just you're granting access and people taking advantage of it. I think.
Well, here's.
Go ahead, Bones.
Well, here's the thing. I guess there was a study like a few years back on like policies regarding like being like inclusive for trans people in bathrooms, and what it found criminally was that there's really no change to crimes occurring either against women or just in general. So really, the idea. Piggybacking off the comment here, the idea that trans people, when allowed into these restrooms, probably are gonna like abuse this rule and like assault more people, or even just like males masquerading as women going into these restrooms. All of that just like complete horseshit. And people are obviously going to abuse this anyways.
Even if it happens, so let's say that a male masquerades as a woman, goes into a room and starts snapping photos of people. Let's incarcerate that motherfucker. Like right there, let's call the cops. Let's get them to show up with fucking metal bracelets. Let's put them in the metal bracelets. Let's put them in a holding cell, and let's put them in fucking jail or prison for violating statutes. That's what I would do.
What about a
dog?
What about
and obviously like
I don't want to go back to this shit. I want to go back to Iran.
Yeah, let's go back to Iran though. Let's go back to Iran. Like, now that we've had our little
Iran. You don't want to answer that question? Oh, you just want to skip right over that.
Wait, what?
We've been talking about this for 3 fucking hours, dude. I'm fucking tired of it. We had 2 topics tonight. We focused on one. It proves my goddamn point.
The guy brought it up.
So funny.
I came up to have the conversation.
We had 2 topics to talk about, and we focused on one. You're proving my fucking point.
It's true, Calvin.
I wanted us to focus on 2 issues.
They just love. They just love them girls. They just love them girls. That's just say right here. All y'all Southerners, y'all love that girl. Y'all love to talk about girl.
Listen, gentlemen, put your dicks away. You all know I've got bigger balls than all y'all little bitches. Listen, You are currently sitting 1 out of 10 on the dono goal. All right. And that you've had almost a full hour to hit that. I did match over here what we had on Raging Tomato before we left. You now have 21 minutes to hit the other 9. This is do or die, guys. Do or die. We're all having fun, and I love having fun, but you do have to meet the dono goal. All right, back to Clay and Alex screaming at each other like.
I just want to go back to Iran. I just want to talk about Iran because
you guys want to talk about stats, but not real life, right? So
I
I'm
am
the
talking
one who
about it.
brought up the point about children.
That's our
right?
real life play.
Real
That's a real life. I don't know, like where you got this idea that stats in real life are completely like disanalogous. Unfortunately,
we're talking about
large quantities of data
as long as there's
in real life.
a toilet that's available. But
Wait, let's talk about Iran, or I'm going to ban you again from my chat.
Leverage it.
I can tell you this.
Talk about that point. Let's not talk
Now,
about
everybody
it.
shut up. All of you shut up. My
look
dear,
at that.
darling, almighty Nate, put my most favorite color on the screen.
And
I'm going to enjoy the moment of silence while y'all motherfuckers shut your mouth and say, thank you, almighty Nate, with nothing but tomatoes in that fucking chat. He just officially bought your dono goal and said, fuck you. But he's also telling y'all to donate, motherfuckers. We could do what is it? Samuel L. Jackson, motherfucker.
Raise your glasses for almighty Nate.
There we go. Raise your tomatoes in the chat. We love you so much, almighty Nate. I'm going to leave that pretty red thing up there for a hot minute. But yes, okay, continue your squealing, boys.
So which way should Iran go? Should it go Western culture or should it go Islamic Republic culture? Which way should Iran
I like
go?
when we have a talk.
I think it should actually be a hybrid. So I think one of our naivetes in the war on terror was expecting Iraq and expecting Afghanistan to be secular democracies within like 3 to 5 years. I think that was like a silly expectation. I think that realistically, even if you talk to people of the region, they're going to want to at least pay some kind of lip service to Islam and the supremacy of their religion. Even if you look at our allies in the region, they do so as well. So I think that effectively, like, it should still be democratic in that people get the right to vote. It should be Republican in that the rule of law is respected, but it can be Islamic in that their religion plays a huge role in the way that they perceive morality and codify law. And I think if you ignore that and try to impose like fucking pride parades in Tehran, like it's a fool's errand.
So would the clerics be on board with that concession where it is not all, it is a compromise?
They're not. They're absolutely not. Anybody who's been pushing for this, arguably, it depends on who you talk to, between 10,000 and 40,000 pro-democracy protesters were slaughtered in the past 6 months. So, I mean, no, they will not. They do not want to give up theocratic authoritarian power whatsoever. They are not interested. They have the guns. The civilians don't have the guns. Whatever uprising that Trump and the Shah's son were promising is not materializing. So yeah, we're
this
stuck.
happened before. The last time we pushed a color revolution. What was it? When they had the little green flag with the 2 fingers, was it like 2013? When the Arab Spring was happening, and that didn't end well for those people in Iran either. And as much as I would love to see them rise up and retake their country from a theocracy, they'd get murdered.
That's a long-term project. In my opinion, literally the CIA, I know everybody hates the CIA except for me, but I think that all that fucking USAID fucking PEPFAR money, all that USAID PEPFAR money that we saved by, killing several 100,000 Africans, that should be going to small arms and fucking satellite internet terminals to be given to Iranian insurgents.
So we should support Iran or the Iranian people.
Or the Iranian people against the Iranian government.
Here's a question about that. If the Iranian, do you really believe that the Iranian people support our values? That they really want our support?
No, I think I said that they would probably want democracy and republicanism. They would not want secular degeneracy.
Right, well, so they don't want anything to do with us. Neither does Israel.
No,
here's the thing.
That's not what I said.
Iran's a country of 96 million people. They have enough people to have both sides of the ideological spectrum, man.
Clay, I need you to listen to what I said.
Has
that's going to be really hard. Good luck.
Statehood. These people don't care about you. They don't care about our country. Why are we supporting anyone other than the United States? No,
because
don't give
number
them
one,
funds, don't give them money, don't support them, don't continue these fucking wars. Fuck all them motherfuckers across the goddamn sea. They don't care about you.
Yeah, but hold up. This is like just straight up the most geopolitically fucking ignorant ass shit I've ever fucking heard.
Oh, really? Geopolitical, huh?
The entire
so
world.
We can't get our own fucking oil?
No, we can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we had a Gulf. We didn't have a Gulf of America at this point now. A whole fucking
literally is not capable of refining our own oil.
Thousands
international. Hold on. I can explain it to you.
Yeah,
let me know when you're done.
Settle down,
God, Clay, what is with you lately?
I'm trying to understand.
Hold on. Here, let me.
I can answer that.
Hold on. No, here.
If you're gonna answer for me, go ahead.
Yes. Clay does really great during the Q&A, and he zips it up and he keeps it like high and tight, okay? But on the gauntlet, that's where he lets out everything he's been holding in. So we have to forgive that because he does such an amazing job during the Q&A. So I'm not going to give him shit for this. But I want to at least let the back and forth happen, Clay. So let's be mindful of that, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
But I do want
just because we're you just said you asked me a question and you want me to answer, so I'm going to answer it.
I was asked the question.
Then let me know when you're done and I'll talk. Let me know when you're done.
Effigy asked me the question. Effigy, what was your question to me?
He asked what's up with you? What's up your ass? And I answered it for you. That's why I was so let's let Connor get back to the we can sit here and go over.
I can answer that. You answered it. Yes, I can.
No, this is the exact problem.
Please let's not go into the meta. Please let's not do the meta, okay? I don't want the meta. Please.
Actually, can I have Ben answer this for me? I'd like Ben's answer for me because he knows why the fuck I'm fucking sitting here going, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Sitting here going, yeah, we should support Iran. No, we should support Israel. Fuck them people, dude. Support your local fucking community. That's what I'm telling you.
Oh.
Fuck them people across the goddamn sea. You know what? Fuck them people in the next state over, too. You got a whole ass city, you got a whole ass county you need to fucking support. A whole ass state needs to support. And all you're going to do is laugh? Fuck you too, Bones. When was the last time you actually
When was the last time you had a coherent take? Okay, so look, the average, by the way, going on the meta, the average person is 2 raccoons up their ass. Clay has 7 right now. Clay's at a 7 right now with the raccoons up his ass, by the way.
Everybody can hear me, right? Everybody can hear me. Nobody's having any issues with audio. Okay, let's hand it back to Connor and see what kind of response he has to you, Clay, and then we can move forward with the conversation.
Okay. So yes, I understand that because of fracking and energy development over the past decade, we become a net exporter of petroleum. But obviously the oil market is reliant on fucking the entirety of the international market because that's why you've seen your fucking oil go from $2 to fucking $5. Yes, absolutely. This is demonstrably true. Otherwise, why would your petroleum have shot up to fucking $5 a gallon if it wasn't reliant on international markets? So anyways, the point is that if you actually look at a map of the planet of the proven oil reserves on the fucking planet,
ask a question, don't get an answer.
In 3 places.
Stop. Hold on, Connor. Clay, he was talking. We know
he asked a question.
I thought it was rhetorical. I could be wrong,
well,
but I
was
thought
an asshole for asking a stupid question.
Clay's not really good with
social cues, but he doesn't want an answer. What he wants to say is that there is no other answer than his only answer.
For the audience, he's up to 8.
I would like to make a complete and coherent statement. I would like the opportunity to do that.
Go ahead, Connor. Finish your thought.
Okay. So, finishing my thought, there are 3 places that have the largest proven oil reserves outside of the United States. It's Saudi Arabia, which is an ally. We have Venezuela, which is somebody that we just toppled their fucking leadership in order to be able to get access to their oil. And then we have Iran, which is the other fucking people who have the 3rd largest. Yeah, if you say fuck them, that doesn't make any goddamn sense because we literally just went from $3 a gallon to $5 a gallon. So you've made an assertion that international oil prices don't affect local shit. How do you square that with the fact that oil has jumped by 40% in the past fucking 6 months?
Why lie and say that I said something I didn't say?
Then say whatever the fuck you want to say, but fucking stop. Take the fucking tampon out of your ass. I got like 5 minutes to go, and you're like denying geopolitical reality, and you're talking about the fucking tampon up your fucking twat instead of just articulating your worldview.
Connor,
By the way,
there's a reason
Florida's
why I banned you.
average
It's because you're an
unleaded
unpleasant,
is at
abrasive
$4.25 a gallon. By the way,
oil prices, how them international oil prices just can't be
started at
beat.
$2.75 in December. By the way,
Tell me how shipping oil from Iran is cheaper than getting it out of the ground where we live.
Because we can't
It
use
doesn't
our
make
fucking
sense.
oil, you fucking jackass. We can't use our fucking oil. We don't have the refining capabilities to do it. That's why
Thank
we
you.
ship it across the seas. That's why we import Canadian fucking oil.
We're so
Iranian
dumb.
oil,
We
all
don't
of
know
it.
how to
Shut the fuck up with your
refine
fucking
oil,
nonsense. Shave
Never
that
learned
beard, you
how
fucking
to
emasculate
refine.
fuck. You look like a fucking eunuch.
Thank you, Alex. Holy shit! I'm so glad.
Jesus Christ. You're annoying as shit right now.
Refining the fucking oil.
We
It's
don't
American
do that. We don't use our
Oh my-
fucking oil. You fucking
Okay.
numbnuts.
Yes, it's only
What
It's
is wrong
retarded.
with you?
efficient to do it just because
Wow.
kinds
It's
of oil.
retarded.
This is not
All right.
known.
All right. Okay. Now that we've broken out the common sense bat, let's at least allow some responses instead of just yelling. All right.
I have a theory on this.
Sure. Go ahead.
Would people agree that we have hit a moment of acceleration in thought where we are bombarded with a ton of information that seems like a lot of drama and a lot of catastrophe? Let me ask that first off.
No, Cassandra. I think we're hitting democratization of media. People will always be stupid and insane. Sorry, I'll try to be quick.
No,
people have always been this stupid and insane, but we never had access to each other's thoughts via web cameras and microphones.
Okay, and now this part. What are we training right now? What are we training?
Us?
We're training the
Like
AI.
in this room?
We're training the models, all the stuff that we're being, we're all being observed. We're all being observed right now. All of our emotions, all of our reactions, all of our thoughts, all of our opinions, all of our theories is all being collected even right now in this room.
Sure.
The chat is the audience, what they're chatting, that's being collected too.
But Cassandra, I want to point
That'd be
something
another
out
great
that
topic,
I think
the AI surveillance state.
I want to point something out that Ben pointed out in reference to wedge politics. Okay,
what's up?
I'm a content creator on several channels. I make Warhammer 40K stuff. I make sci-fi stuff. I make politics stuff. With politics stuff, I can talk about the latest military technology. I can talk about logistics. I can talk about world affairs or history. I will cut my audience down by 2/3. I can talk about a political creator having weird sex that he's not supposed to be having, and I can multiply my audience by 20 times. So
Perversion
at some
is
point,
very attractive.
well, but the point that I'm making though is the fact that like, while we can blame that the corporate fucking people are manipulating us into having lowbrow conversations, the truth is people fucking love lowbrow conversations, or they love to bitch about lowbrow conversations. And so as a
why is
result,
that?
I would actually say I'm here because number one, because Sarah invited me, but number two, because for me, it's fun. It's fun to mix the highbrow and the lowbrow, smash it together and scream at each other. I actually find it entertaining.
So who's getting to Mars? Because it's not going to be the people who are bitching at each other, is it?
Well, I mean, if you become a millionaire, then you might be able to afford a civilian ticket to Mars. But if you don't become a millionaire by doing this, then no, you will probably be living and dying on Earth.
Are in this talk of prices, are we pretending like we haven't historically regularly embargoed Iran, taken their money and just seized it, done all kinds of things? And every time historically, it more than doubles gas prices. As a matter of fact, when Biden took office and everybody was blaming him for the gas price hike, Trump, just like 4 months before leaving office, signed an embargo on Iran. And they're very aware that every time they remove, because as you pointed out, Iran is one of the largest reserves. And so every time they remove Iran from the market, oil prices double. That's just a historical fact.
I know Sarah wants to talk, but I just want to go
avoid
immediately
doing that.
after Sarah because I want to tell you all about the wildest shit I ever bumped into in my entire life within the past week. But I'll shut up and I'll wait.
Like a good story. Alex actually wants to make his exit, so he's just going to give his final thoughts to the panel, and then Connor, I'll hand it back to you. Go ahead, Alex.
Thank you.
Sarah, thank you so much. You've been very, very gracious with me, like with my time, the stuff that I got going on. But anyway, long story short, I was really hoping that we could do a little bit more engaging when Brian was around because Iran is a really critical issue right now because geopolitically, it is having a drastic impact on all of us. We've already seen the impact of it. We've already seen the impact of like how closing down the Strait of Hormuz in certain areas where some certain cargo ships weren't able to make it through, it had a drastic impact on all of us. Now we're actually having to release some of our reserves to make sure that we can offset the cost of that. However, now because the deal has just been nixed essentially, now we don't know if we're going to see prices go back up, what have you. This is really, really critical. And it's like I said before, Iran doesn't need to win. They just need to hold out for as long as they can. Because right now they have the cards. Because if they say, no, we don't want to be a part of the deal and Trump keeps bombing, they say, well, hey, listen, we didn't want to be a part of this. You guys invaded us. You guys hit us first. And I'm not saying I support Iran. I don't. I think the regime is terrible. They have slaughtered their own people. I actually spoke out about how they were terrible against Mahsa Amini, who was killed by her own government because she did not want to wear the hijab. That's cruel and it's terrible. This is why I'm completely against religion being in charge of your government because you get shit like this basically. But kind of like just follow up though. The only thing I think that we really need to do is like we do need to focus on this, but we focus so much on the bullshit issues that don't fucking mean anything. Like the LGBTQ plus community is like 1.3. No, trans people are like 1.3% of the U.S. population. Muslim people are like 1.3% of the population. And then migrants are like, I don't know how many percent of the population, but we're focused on them. We're trying to convince everybody else that the middle and lower income people are out here taking your jobs and doing these horrible people when it's actually the elites. The elites are saying, you're going to feel temporary discomfort. They're going to be fine. Everybody here on this panel, we're not. We're going to feel the pinch from everything. They're going to be okay. But that's one thing that I feel like we need to talk about. Connor, you and I still need to talk one of these days, though, because I've been trying to meet.
Dude, literally, I'm live 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. I would love to talk to you during that time frame. If that's not available for you, then let's literally just schedule something at nighttime on a weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't work anymore. I'm doing school full time, so yeah, I'll hit you up. So, all right, cool. Sarah, thank you so much for talking.
Love you, Alex.
Take care. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.
You too.
I also do have a morning stream, so I think this will probably be my version of an outro as well. Although I'll be happy to hear a response. So the wildest political thing that I bumped into recently was actually watching a documentary about the evolution of like Russian-American relations over the past 30 or 40 years. But what they actually covered is how OPEC, the oil-producing economy countries or whatever, how they actually fucked over the United States in the 1960s and 70s because they didn't like American meddling in the Middle East and North Africa. But what ended up happening was not only did you have fuel shortages where people couldn't get anything at the pump, but what you could get at the pump was insanely expensive. And so what ended up happening, which was the wildest thing I've ever fucking seen, was they showed man on the street interviews in the 1960s and 70s, effectively of American citizens saying, hey, we need to go do corporate imperialism in the Middle East and North Africa to guarantee that we are able to get cheap oil and survive. And so you basically had the American working class like crying out for us to get involved in the stabilization of petroleum production on the planet. And we have known that stability since Reagan. So since like fucking 1980, whatever the fuck, whenever he got in office. So you're basically talking about what 80, it's 26 right now. You're talking about 50 years of stability. You're basically a fish swimming in water and you're going, what's water? And so I think Clay's perspective is horribly geopolitically naive, that we could just like leave the world and see where it lands. That's fucking crazy pants.
That's fair. Isolationist. Is that what you?
I'll probably say goodnight.
Yeah. Is that what you want, Clay, to be a full on isolationist?
No, I want to do good business. I don't.
Okay.
I don't
well, good business internationally oftentimes comes at the barrel of a gun.
We do have the facilities to refine our own oil. There's no reason for us to be importing oil. As a as a
We
child.
do not. We
Get
do
the
not,
fuck
Ben.
up, Bones. You interrupting fuck. Go put a tampon in or something.
How about you say something factual real quick? Saying that we're able to refine our own oil is completely false.
This is the
It is completely false.
retard shit why I was fucking pissed off.
I'm gonna
Okay, is this like
it's not the argument, it's
the?
Bones.
I'm sorry,
Bones
I'm on
has an
screen
intent
and I'm talking. I know you're not talking over me. Okay, I don't know if it's because the full moon recently, or maybe everyone's got tampons in the wrong hole. Something's going on with all of y'all. But Ben was talking. Please allow him to finish his thought, Bones. You know better.
We were all taught in school. The whole reason that we weren't tapping into our oil is because it was a limited resource and we wanted to save it for the future. So that way, basically, we were going to use up everybody else's oil. It's not that we don't have the oil to do so. We could easily be producing our own, and we could be doing it at a cheap price and giving it to our citizens at a cheap price, like those other countries that you mentioned do. But we don't. We purposely, when we embargo Iran and our gas prices here double, they knew that was going to happen. It happens every time. They like the gas prices doubling. So why aren't we just using our own shit and giving it to the people like over in Iraq or over in Saudi, where you can basically fill your car up for free?
Because I think because exactly what you just said, which was that, number one, if you check proven oil reserves, we're at like 123 gigabillion barrels of oil. It's not nothing, but it's not as big as Venezuela, Iran, or the Gulf states combined. And then not just that, but you just said, we want to use everybody else's reserves first. Why wouldn't you want to do that if you were a geopolitical military player that planned on being a superpower for centuries, not decades? So, I think you answered your own question.
I can think of why I wouldn't want to do that.
You're assuming that I agree with that we're going to use up the oil.
Well, no. I'm not trying to assume. I felt like you asked, why wouldn't we?
That's why we were taught what was going on, and that's why
not rational.
That's why we did this other nonsense and don't do what Clay's talking about, where we just start supporting ourselves off of our own oil.
What you were taught not rational?
But Ben, do you currently agree that our current refinery capacity is all created to refine a different kind of oil than what we have, that we would have to completely change all of our coastal refineries into different kinds of refineries?
Oil.
Well,
specifically sour oil. We have sweet oil, which is just a reference to sulfur content.
Like we could do it, yes, but we can't turn over an entire oil refining industry in like a year, right?
Now that is a decades-long project. Are we working in the very least?
We should work on it. But anyways, Sarah, I'm a deep out.
No, it's not a matter of upgrading; it's a different kind
Hold
of
on,
process.
FG. Hold on, Connor's heading out.
Well, yeah. So I was going to say, I appreciate us not only being able to, shit on minorities, but also being able to talk about geopolitics. That's always fun. So I appreciate y'all. It was fun. I hope y'all have a beautiful night.
On minorities.
I'll see y'all soon. Bye, guys.
Is that what he said?
I mean, that's what the trans obsession is, really.
Hi, Cameron. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for bringing me up.
You're most welcome. Kinetic Cal says a big test says, oh, Sarah. Oh, Cal. Shout out to you, my love. All right. Back to whatever you guys were crying about.
Yeah, Balderson, the idea that we have all this oil that we can instantly utilize, or I say instantly, but really relatively easily utilize here. It's just false. We refine a different type of oil than we are able to produce, which is why we export a lot of oil and also import a lot of oil. And the idea of it, the idea of being net exporter or importer of oil is just kind of it's like a cheap trick.
We have entire untapped reserves. When I say reserves, I don't mean the pieces that they've already taken out, because they're purposely not taking oil that we could be taking. Fully fits all of our needs. Fully fits it.
So our infrastructure is made specifically to refine.
We're going to run out of oil at some point in time in the future.
Okay, whatever. So we have infrastructure that refines sour oil. The United States
It's not
produces
true.
sweet oil. What do you mean that's not true?
No, I was asking Ben, do you think it's not true that you could possibly like use up all your oil? Do you think it's infinite in supply?
There is a thing called abiotic oil. Yes, it's obviously not dinosaurs that degraded. That's fucking idiocy that got sold. And when they were making up this whole thing where they're like, oh, we have limited supplies. That way they can keep jacking up the prices.
So
oil is made out of
isn't
hydrocarbons.
decayed organic matter.
I'm aware. I'm an actual chemist, fuckwit.
All right. But yeah, so oil contains hydrocarbons. You understand this, right, Benjamin? You understand that, right?
You are a fucking retard. Oil.
Wait. Oil doesn't contain hydrocarbon.
I'm aware.
That is the
It's
entire
not
basis of
degraded
fuel.
dinosaur. It's hydrocarbon.
Dinosaurs contain carbon. So it is
not
not
just
like a
dinosaurs,
far
it's
shot to
all
believe that organic material could make up
matter.
oil reserves, you fucking
And
idiot.
none of
Holy
it turns
shit.
into oil. Weirdly, even though everything is a
What's the evidence
hydrocarbon
for that?
life form.
What's
in
the
this
argument
whole
for that?
fucking
What's the
place.
argument for that? Ben, what's the argument for that? Let's hear it.
Every single. If you would shut your fucking pie hole, sometimes you could
What?
actually hear you.
Or
dumb
maybe if you
fucking
stopped
stuff.
going on the meta, you could actually like answer the question. Go ahead.
Just
You done
shut
talking,
up
bitch?
on so you can
You
say
done
it.
talking, you fucking little cunt?
He's not going to
Are you
answer.
done
He's just going to
talking?
keep doing the meta.
Are you fucking done talking, you
I'm
little
waiting
cunt?
for you to leave the meta and go to the substance. Can you go to the
Still
substance for me?
interrupting him. You do
Nobody
this
can answer
constantly.
anything.
Because he's doing.
You have
Wait,
a
he's just
delay,
doing the
Bones.
meta. I'm not interested in the meta. I'm not interested right now. I'm interested in the
Every
substance.
life form
So
on
what's
this
the
planet
argument
is
that leads
you
to the
don't shut the
conclusion
fuck
that
up, you
they
stupid
only
man.
abiotic processes
Doesn't stop.
produce oil?
He never stops.
It's that fucking easy. Every life form on this planet is a hydrocarbon life form, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
Nothing else
Mhm.
turns into oil. Just the dinosaurs. Because
No,
it's
not
a
just the
bullshit
dinosaurs.
story. That's something
Not
that
just
they
the
don't
dinosaurs.
know where it comes from.
It's not just the dinosaurs. It's any organic matter that contains carbon. It can turn into oil. It can turn into coal. Turn into natural gas. Just depends on the process.
No, it does not. This is something that bubbles up from in the earth. Lots of
Wait, what? By what
scientists
process?
that look
By
at
what
abiotic
process?
oil. This is
By
called
what
This is
process?
called forced shortage. This is where they're trying
No.
to.
What's the process that produces this oil? What's the chemical process?
Dude, you don't shut the fuck up.
What's the chemical process? Tell me.
You don't shut the fuck up.
What's
Ever.
the chemical process?
You can just take me down. I'm done talking to the dumb bitch.
Okay, look at that. If you want to quit now, that's fine.
You're
But
the
like,
worst.
but
You
like
got
that's fine.
as
I am
maroon.
trying
You
to understand
fucking
you right
fur.
here, but all you
You
want to
got
do is
as
just bitch about the meta, Ben. When I call you out on factually incorrect stuff, all you want to do is pivot to the meta. So once again, I'm asking the question: what is the process by which oil is produced solely abiotically? Go ahead. Okay, so I guess you just want to do the meta.
Bones, but Bones, you know, people get annoyed by how you always.
Yeah, when I call them out on
when
either
they're-
doing the meta.
No. Hold on, listen. This is my always my thought process for everyone. And you've been on my debates before on like 1v1, 2v2, so you know what I tell everyone backstage. Even if you think what the person is saying is abso-fucking-lutely retarded, let them finish it. Then you can tell them how they're absolutely retarded.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay. So, like, we know the process here. I know we're in gauntlet mode, but at the same time, we also have to understand that if you're trying to have a conversation with someone, the best form is to listen with you got 2 ears, 1 mouth. All right?
Yeah,
Listen
but
twice
if
as
he's
much
just going to
as
go
you
onto
talk.
the meta, then
He's
I
not
have no
trying
reason to listen to it.
He's not trying to have a conversation. He's trying to do gotchas. Like a fucking retard.
Like, you and I have had
You're
plenty
a
of conversations.
fucking retard, dude.
What I do is not just
way
as
in
Scott.
hell
I
you
am
have any
mostly
type of
focused on the
degree.
substance.
You
But
probably
right now,
didn't graduate high
you
school.
also
Bro, you've never
you want to
gotten
focus on the
punani.
meta. Blah blah projection,
Bro,
Madeline.
you
Big,
are so
big fucking
retarded.
projection. I know you
You're
only want to focus on the
retarded.
meta.
I could be
When I
wrong.
ask about the
Bones, I
substance,
can be
you
wrong.
only
You
bitch and
can
whine
just
about the
not be
meta.
retarded.
Like, well, your
But when
behavior
you
sucks.
speak
Your behavior
over,
sucks. But when I
it
call
doesn't
your behavior
change
then, I
the
provide the substantive argument, then you get really ass mad that I did both at the same time. So once again, I want to ask Benjamin, what is the only process that occurs solely abiotically that produces oil?
No,
okay,
it's
Clay?
not Z-Bone.
If you want to
until
spurg,
I
that's
begin
fine.
to speak,
Clay, if you
and
want to
then you
spurg, that's
begin
fine.
to speak.
If you
Every
want to spurg,
fucking
that is
time.
fine, Clay.
It's not
Clay.
spurg. Stop talking
Yes,
over
it is. In
me.
fact, it is
You did it to
absolutely
me.
a
You
spurg.
did it to
Absolutely.
Asbroom.
And I'm about
You
to
did
do
it
it. So
to
have a good night.
Ben just
Please,
now.
please
You
shove
do
more
it to
fucking
people.
raccoons up your ass.
Stop
Up to 10
doing
now. Up to 10 now.
Stop it. Bones, stop.
Clay! Spin is using one of his credits to boot Bones to the back, so you could save your breath, Clay. All right, I'm gonna set a timer, Bones, 10 minutes. And wait a minute, what is this? Bones of Doom earned this L to the void with him. Okay, so since P. Fletch sent his in, after I guess they probably came in at the same time. I'll give the option to Spin or P. Fletch if one of you want to use it. I can give the credit back and you guys can use one or team up and pick one later. I don't know. However you want to do it.
You know what? Leave his ass back there for 20 fucking minutes.
Okay, that's fair. All right, double dip. Okay.
If that's okay with
Yeah,
P. Fletch.
if you wanna-
I want to make sure. I want to
Yeah.
make sure.
I'll set it for
P.
20.
Fletch, is that okay? That we team up on it?
All right.
Yes. He said yes. Sarah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. The Bones, your timer's set. Okay. What's up with everyone tonight? Is everyone just like extra this evening?
He's
I
like
just
that
got here.
on every panel. The dude actually, as Varun might be the politest dude I've ever seen on panels. That fucking little dumb shit got as Varun to do that. How the fuck do you even do that? Like, that's just amazing. He's just fucking pathetic. He don't shut the fuck up. When you try and say something intelligent, he talks over you the whole time. And he's like, why do I do the meta? While you're just like, dude, would you shut the fuck up so I can actually say something? He does this to literally every single person.
He's not interested. And I will talk about him while he's back there. He's a little bitch.
He left.
No, of course
He's
he
the worst
did.
fucking
Of course he
debater on
did.
the
So he
panel.
doesn't honor the money, right? So he's a little bitch.
He honored it. He honored it by going to the back. If he chooses to leave, that's fine. Like, that's up to him.
Okay, that's your show.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I can't demand that he sits back there for, like, I can't demand that he stays, right? He left. Like, that's okay. But he's not the first person to leave after being booted. That's a common thing, actually.
I've
You'd be
done that
surprised.
before.
Exactly. So why are you bitching, Clay? Why are you
And I
sitting there
was
calling
wrong
him out?
in my principle for doing that.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I made the money. You got booted to the back. If you choose to head out after that, that's up to you. No big deal. Wade's philosophy says oil is from decomposed remains of microscopic marine organisms like algae, plankton, bacteria. Homeboy thinks fossil core oil is Jurassic Park oil.
Actually, that is the majority of it right there. The microorganisms. That's the majority of it. That's why composting is like one of the best things you can do for your soil if you actually do gardening, because it produces these things called little microorganisms and it puts the oil back into the soil. Oil into the soil.
What?
What?
Yeah.
There's no oil cycle.
Oh, okay. Okay. I know. I don't know what I'm talking about either. I've only been doing gardening and lawn maintenance for my whole fucking life since I was like 5 years old.
Okay.
Hey, Clay. Yeah, sure.
Literally been doing it my whole life.
Hello, Jim. Says that guy with the curly hair turned you guys into a bunch of whiny babies. LOL. You had to have a support group for yourselves after he left. What say you, support group?
I'm gonna cry.
Aw, don't cry.
I won't cry here on panel. I'll wait till I get off panel and then
Turn the cold shower on and lay on the floor in the fetal position with a bottle of wine and cry.
Well, he has to refill his jar.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, no, there's literally oil in your feet, energy coming out of your feet. When you walk on your grass, your lawn, by the way, you're literally transferring that energy, that oil, back into the soil that you didn't even know existed.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, did you say composting produces oil?
Yes.
It definitely does not.
Okay.
It breaks it down into nutrient-rich soil. It cannot create liquid oils, but it can add fats and oils to a compost pile. Though large quantities can ruin the pile.
The closest you're going to get is methane. You're not going to get petroleum.
Guess what, Ben? That compost that you got out back, there's no oil in it.
I heard that.
So I was going to say,
methane is your most simple hydrocarbon gas. When you're looking at hydrocarbon gases, literally it's just hydrogen and carbon. Methane is one of the ones that I really don't understand why we aren't more proactive with, because bang for your buck, you get one carbon for 4 hydrogens, and that equation goes down on every other hydrocarbon gas.
Ben, we use a lot of it. What are you talking about? That's what natural gas is. That's what it goes into methalox. Like, we use methane everywhere. We just don't use it for like automobiles and shit.
The reason why we haven't been so proactive about it is because we can't tax cow farts and all of the other bullshit. That's why we haven't been so proactive with it.
Well, also, it's not very energy dense compared to like gasoline.
We can also put fines on methane emissions from farms if they go.
Well, that's what they try. That's what they try. Where is Ben? Ben needs to weigh in with that one. But anyway,
We have an animal emergency going on right now.
Uh-oh.
You guys go take care of your thing.
so I'm
Everything
just gonna
okay,
throw
Chris?
out here.
I'm just going to mute them on my end so they can handle what they need to handle.
I was going to say here
I mean,
that
they did try to tax it in California. Wasn't it, Clay? That they tried to tax cow farts?
Yeah.
Because of their emission and their green, what did they call it? The green incentive or some shit? Yeah.
But the thing is like methane's, remember correctly, it's very soluble in water, so it doesn't transfer the same way that like CO2 does. CO2 can get into the upper atmosphere and causes that warming effect. Methane tends to have a less of an effect, but it's still a greenhouse gas. Still need to keep an eye on it.
Well, let me ask Ant this question. We have a lot of emissions that goes into the atmosphere. Wouldn't you agree that a lot of our carbon emissions are sucked up by trees?
No, I wouldn't agree with that. Most of it's sucked up by algae.
Okay, so how is that a climatized emergency?
Well, let me rephrase. The carbon that is absorbed by the environment is primarily absorbed by algae. We produce enough CO2 to overwhelm that process, however.
Okay.
That said, I don't think it's apocalyptic. I just think it's something that we should look at correcting.
Well, the government in California thinks it's
It was the entire United States. I searched it up. It was the EPA, so it was the entire United States. They're under Biden, if you were wondering.
For what?
Methane emissions.
Oh, right. Yeah, I thought so. I was like, but I couldn't remember the exact like policy, like what it's connected to, like it was executive order.
But how is
law,
carbon? So why in just one state is it apocalyptic? Oh, I can't say the fucking word. Damn it.
Apocalyptic?
Yes. How is one state out of the 50 contiguous United States have that ideology and not any of the other 49?
It wasn't one state. I just said it was all of them by the EPA. If you went over your limit, you were charged $1,500 per metric ton. 1500.
That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. How can carbon in the entire 50 contiguous United States measure carbon emissions and then put a
contiguous?
Can I finish?
Well, you're going to get different readings in Hawaii.
Can I
versus
fucking
Ohio.
finish?
You can try.
How can the EPA measure carbon emissions and then fine or tax a state forthwith?
They find the business that did it. That's responsible. It was to target leaks.
So they know, like, you have a business that produces emissions. They could measure it directly, or they can estimate it based off of
whatever
industry
chemical
norms.
reaction you're making.
Yeah, and then and essentially, I don't know if they still do this. I know that what they used to do is they would issue pollution credits that you could sell. So if you were able to stay well under your pollution quotas for the year, you would have these pollution credits that you could sell off, right?
Yeah.
Which incentivized being cleaner. I don't know if they still do this. I actually thought that was a pretty good program. I like carrots over sticks. But point being is they probably are estimating it more than they're directly measuring it. But they could do that also if they needed to.
Okay, but is it not the responsibility of the individual business to monitor that and not the federal government?
Why would you trust a government to hold itself accountable to government regulations?
You mean a business?
That's like
you mean the business?
Like
the business, yeah. Sorry, what did I say?
He also had it right.
yeah, that's us. It's like asking the government to audit itself and be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that analogy as well, but I mean, when you build a chemical plant or something that has or puts two chemicals together that may or may not produce bad shit into the air, do they not have ways to monitor that and clean that emission?
Well, they have two options. They find a cleaner process, or they stay within their emission guidelines.
And
I'll
the
tell you what,
emission
if they actually
guidelines,
did that,
the
the bottom
emission-
side of the Mississippi would not be called Cancer Alley.
That's like I'm just saying, like, the way the system is supposed to work, how it actually works, we can get into, but that gets into like really discrete setup, right? We got to look at each one individually, and we have time for that.
Well, I guess that was my point. Isn't it an individualized thing, or is the EPA? Is there an EPA employee in every manufacturing plant saying, "Bad boy, you can't do this. Next time I'm going to write you a
We've
ticket"?
been through this though, right? All you got to do is look at the USA late 1970s after Nixon made the EPA. Businesses are not going to put the civic well-being above their profit line. They're just not. They never did. They will pollute anything they can. They will take any shortcut they can to raise profits, especially nowadays. The EPA was the only way that we actually cleaned up America. Like, just go look at the pictures, like early 70s America. There are horrific shit like around all kinds of refineries and industry everywhere in the US.
Or look at China today. Like the only regulations are themselves, and if it's not a place they really care about, they don't give a shit if it goes to seed or a pot.
I mean, just use DuPont as an example.
Which is what tells you that NAFTA did more than the EPA ever did, because the EPA, the fucking biggest polluters, get away with shit. They just pay off a fine, which is much less than the money that they make. And the little guys who weren't doing it as bad, they get run out of business. But what you see is where all of our manufacturing went over to those other places like China, you absolutely see that they are unlivable places, just like all the major cities used to have extraordinary smog.
No, I'm sorry,
so
Ben, but it actually changed during the 80s during Reagan. They really cracked down on these companies that were just deciding to pollute and just pay the fees because it was cheaper to do that than to actually implement the technology to, clean up their pollution. But that started in the 80s through a lot of lawsuits, and then legislation followed. NAFTA was a trade agreement, had nothing to do with pollution. But I know what you're saying.
The manufacturing was creating the pollution.
But that's part of it. That wasn't all of it.
Way more than the EPA ever did. I understand what you're saying, but also I know that the biggest and worst people of it were still getting away with shit so far and away compared to anything that was ever prosecuted, ever dealt with. And
I'd love
the
to
only
see
thing
this.
that really did it was NAFTA, which took all that manufacturing, moved it to all these other places, and destroyed their. So I'm not against regulations, but I'm against the way that they've been handled.
It just needs more even enforcement or actual enforcement in some cases.
Right. If the EPA had any balls right now, we'd be going after data centers, and everybody knows that.
100%.
Yeah, maybe. I do think. I also the thing I
at
hate
least
about
the
that
ones
shit is
that are
like,
using fresh water sources. At least
the ones that are dedicated to training LLMs, and I think that's what FG was referring to. Because I don't think all data centers are bad per se.
Well, it depends on what they're doing. If they're wrecking water supplies, if they're ruining drinking water, if they're wrecking the grid. I mean, they just announced the other day that Lake Tahoe is going to lose its entire power carrier. Like they have to find people in like a few months to make power.
Are losing their power,
right?
Because they want to focus on power for a data center. It's insane.
Yeah, but that's for a specific type of data center. It is for those specifically designed for training new LLM models.
But I mean, what difference does it make what it's being used for?
Because we didn't have this problem until we started all this.
Because God, you gotta bomb those kids.
When it was just extra storage and server capacity for like AWS, nobody gives a shit. But now that it's being used, it's being abused. It's a problem
out here, Ant.
Huh?
It's the damage to the environment we're talking about.
Right, and I'm against that. I'm not saying I'm for that. I'm just saying there were data centers that operated
and they were doing
fine.
That still too. They were wrecking the environment too, just not as bad as these.
No, not even close. And I'm sorry, they're using a lot of water.
It's not as bad,
it's a bit of an issue, but and for what? So we have more AI toys to play with on our phones and computers. Fucking hate it.
Dude, did you see all the reports coming out that the big companies that are actually originally invested in that are not going to use AI? They're like, no, this isn't working out for us. Microsoft specifically.
Yeah, who's really bought into it is the advertising industry. They love it. They're balls deep into it. And I'm going to laugh when it fucking blows up in their face because it's so easy to spot and nobody likes it.
You can't get by the fucking uncanny valley. Like you're always like, I understand some old people, yeah, they've got that issue, but
you guys say that
uncanny valley, it's there, it's still there.
I guarantee you have watched a commercial that you did not realize was AI. I guarantee you.
The ones I'm worried about are the LLMs for this purpose that are owned by states, like with state funding and state resources being able to do this shit. Like, who cares about silly fake videos? Like, imagine like really fake videos being used as evidence that hold up in court. That's terrifying to me. This shit's going to destroy evidence.
100%. And they're just waiting to see who comes out on top. That's what the government always does. They're like, let somebody else lay the tracks, and then we're going to go ahead and take it.
Oh, I'm sure they're keeping an eye on every company that's developing AI technology right now. They probably have somebody's embedded in every one of those companies, and they're probably developing their own or trying to.
Yeah, one of the next things in the apocalyptic AI timeline would be the nationalization of AI companies. Once they start to say that it's a national security interest because China is developing their AI, and then it becomes this kind of arms race, and fatalistically we can no longer stop it, and all those companies are given complete deference to wreck society however they want because we have to be the first to get to general intelligence. It's like they're racing to Pandora's box, sitting there admitting that it's going to destroy us all, and they're like, "Yeah, but it'll be great for the people who already have great lives."
Yeah,
It's
we
gonna
want
be
to be
fantastic
one to
for us.
open it.
At what point, like, does it go between being an unnecessary burden financially to society to being something that's worthy of a cause that is actually does greater, right? And it earns its place, like earns its keep.
This is a
I don't know how that
difficult
happens.
argument, right? Because like our entire like civilization is based on these ideas of like, we make technology make our lives better. We should always have better technology. Like for 6,000 years, we've been like chugging along, getting a little bit better. And then now all of a sudden we've got this thing. Everyone says it's going to make everything better. It can do all the things that we already do digitally, but even more so. It has an unlimited number of uses that we could possibly think of, but we almost intrinsically in our being know that it's going to hurt us.
This is how the Butlerian jihad happens.
What is the Butlerian jihad?
It was a rise of AI in Dune.
In Dune, it's the rise of AI, and they literally they outlaw any thinking machine afterwards. There's no thinking machines.
And that's why you have mentats instead. You're like human computers.
Human computers. Like when they talk about them people that could sit and do all those equations, like to get us to the moon, shit like that. This is what we're talking about. People that are specifically gene altered, almost CRISPR-like, where they're made to be these things instead of a computer doing it.
One day we're going to look back and say like all of our fiction was trying to warn us because what was coming was so bad that it reached backwards in time, and we had like a future memory of it collectively, and we tried to warn ourselves.
Yes, it was like in the zeitgeist, and these authors were just accessing it.